Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order. And I would like to ask for our city clerk to please call the roll.
All council members present.
Would you then stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the February 14th, 2017 meetings and the agenda of the February 28th, 2017 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. We have several presentations on today's agenda. I'd like to ask the council to join me below. Our first presentation is a commendation for Majid Al-Ghafri, Assistant City Manager. Majid, would you please come forward and join the council? And Belinda, would you please recite the commendation?
This is a commendation honoring Majid Al-Ghafri, Assistant City Manager. Whereas Assistant City Manager Majid Al-Ghafri cames for development services. During his time in El Cajon, Majid successfully created the City of El Cajon's first Project Assistance Center, which allowed for a team approach within the building, planning, and engineering divisions to provide better, more streamlined service to the community. And whereas Majid has over 30 years of experience in municipal government, equipping him to manage and oversee numerous significant projects for the City of El Cajon. Under his leadership, the City of El Cajon has successfully completed the first phase of a very complex and large sewer replacement project and implemented the second phase, acceptance of the outstanding Greenfield Drive Improvement Project and major renovations to the East County Performing Arts Center. The new El Cajon Animal Care Facility will soon break ground, and the City of El Cajon will be celebrating the grand opening of its first luxury hotel. Majid also successfully managed the effort to contract out the city's custodial services in an expert and win-win manner for all concerned. And whereas Majid Al-Ghafri is highly esteemed by his colleagues and the professional organizations of which he belongs, he has generously shared his insight and expertise to bring the City of El Cajon to the forefront of development services, creating a working model for other cities to follow. We truly appreciate his contributions to the City of El Cajon and the residents and businesses it serves. Now, therefore, I, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby commend and congratulate Assistant City Manager Majid Al-Ghafri on his accomplishments in the public service arena and wish him continued success as he embarks on a new journey as the Assistant City Manager for the City of Dallas, Texas. We further wish Majid and his family good health and much happiness in the years to come. Signed this 28th day of February 2017.
Thank you, Belinda. As the guy who was responsible for hiring Majid out of San Antonio at the time, where he was the Public Works Director, having also worked in Public Works for the City of Lemon Grove, Chula Vista here in San Diego County, and North Las Vegas next door in Nevada, we were blessed to be able to have Majid here for 3.5 years. Back in that time, we had some very specific challenges on our hands. We had a wealth of major public works projects in our future. We still do. Many of those are done. And still, the few that are left, it's what Belinda just mentioned, particularly the animal shelter, which is on our immediate horizon. We're a couple of weeks away from being able to reopen the Ronald Reagan renovated center just south of us here in downtown, and that's been Magic's project and his crew project since day one. But the biggest challenge, really, that I gave him was a very, very unusual task, which is to run both the Community Development Department and the Public Works Department simultaneously. I did that once upon a time in a much smaller city, so I had perhaps a unique perspective of how difficult and challenging that could be. Anytime you're getting planners and engineers in the same room, you got a problem. Believe me, you've got that. Anyway, Majid did it brilliantly. We've got a great management team. He really fused them together into single voice in a way that had not yet really occurred before in the city. And nowadays, where the City Council and myself on a pretty regular basis hears compliments and emails are sent to the city about our Public Works and Community Development team and all the great employees there and all the great work they've done, so much of that really came from Magic's work going back 3.5 years ago. So we hate to lose them, but when the city of Dallas calls, I guess you can't say no to Jerry Jones, right? So we are not telling Dallas that he's a closet Patriots fan. They will have to find that out on their own. But Majid, on behalf of myself as city manager and all of our staff, I want to personally thank you for all the great work you've done, comradeship, friendship, and everything else over the past 3 years. Well deserved, and the best of luck in Dallas.
For the past 3.5 years, I've been honored and privileged to work for an incredible city, to work for an incredible city council who's very passionate about the city and passionate about moving the city forward. And so I'm grateful for that. You gave us much stability to be able to move projects forward, and I'm definitely grateful because it made my job easier. Doug, you've been an incredible mentor. And I'm definitely grateful for all those long hours that we've stayed after work and to discuss projects and strategy and all of that. I've learned a lot from you, and I think that gave me just that added strategy and power to be able to look up to the city of Dallas and say, I'm there. I will do the job. And so thank you for your leadership and friendship as well. And for the departments, for all of the city employees, I'm definitely grateful that you've listened to me, listened to my rant and my challenges, and you've done a phenomenal job with my shortcomings, and you've accomplished a lot, and there's still a lot more to accomplish. And I'm glad to be part of this great team and great force. So thank you so much, and to the public, I will always be an El Cajonian, so you're always in my heart, and I will continue to root for El Cajon. Thank you.
Yeah, we have to say nice things about you, so you can't just run away. I just want to tell you that you would expect me to come and talk about the excellent job that Majid did, and he did an excellent job. But my memories of Majid will be more in terms of what a kind man he is, and how friendly he was to everybody, and how polite he was to everybody, and how everybody that saw Majid coming was happy to see him coming. And I would see him running around town doing things that nobody would know about, but he was involved in the refugee community. He was involved in helping many of the poor people of El Cajon. He would literally be taking cuts of lamb and other foods to people and welcoming into the community, helping solve problems, things that are way above and beyond what anybody would expect. And we were blessed to have your presence in the city, and you will be sorely missed. Anything else you want to say?
Well, there's one thing we left out of the resolution, and that Majid is genuinely a really nice guy. And no matter how rough things got, he had a smile on his face, and he would go out in the field and talk with people, and I'd get a phone call, and it goes, your assistant city manager came out here and talked to me. and he fixed the problem. So that's pretty unique in the world of government. So, Majid, you're a great guy. We're going to miss you.
Majid, I really appreciate all you do for the city, and watching out for those potholes. I call you about potholes, and you get them taken care of right away. So thank you for that. Anyway, you don't have any shortcomings that I've ever seen, so you need to take that back, and there are no shortcomings. And what an opportunity for you to go to a big city like Dallas, Texas. That's quite an elevation, and that shows you that they value what we have shown them as a result of your job here. And that's a really nice opportunity for you that you would be foolish to not take advantage of. Congratulations, and we'll miss you very much here. And I hope your replacement is almost as good as you are.
Well, I haven't really got to work with you for too long, but I never got a piece of that lamb that Bill was talking about. You give out lambs. I'd like to be on that list. But no, seriously, thanks for everything. I know that the times that I've bumped into you and we've had conversations, you can tell you are an intellectual powerhouse, and you're an asset to the city. You're going to be an asset to their city as well, and thank you for your time.
Being a newbie as well, I am new to the council, but I've seen you for a few years. Your respect for people, your courtesy, your skill and your craft is absolutely has left an imprint on El Cajon, and thank you for that, and we wish you the best in Dallas as well.
Do we say something on the way back?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, excuse me, before Mr. Al-Ghafri leaves the floor, I've had a representative from the Middle Eastern community has something to present. Okay.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and City staff. On behalf of the Middle Eastern community, I would like to thank Mr. Majid Al-Ghafri for all his community service and all the service that he has done to this community by letting us up to date with all the information and try to connect the community with everything that's going on here in the city. And now we have some community representatives and community leaders who would like to thank him personally, and some of them, they signed a certificate of appreciation. If I may just present it to Mr. Majid. Thank you. This award is presented by the Our Mother of Perpetual Help Syria Catholic Church, the Kurdish Community Islamic Center, St. Michael Aid Society, Telescope Chaldean Charity, the Afghan Community of San Diego, the Syrian Community, and the Iraqi Community Soccer Team, and the Newcomer Support and Development.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Is there anybody else who would like to give Majid an award? Well, one last round of a hand for Majid Al-Ghafri. Thank you so much. Steve, I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Goebel here. He happens to know Cartwright Pest Control, and I'm going to let him handle this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to present this proclamation. It's always good to recognize a business in the city when they win a statewide award and also celebrate a milestone anniversary. And so today we're here to recognize a couple of those. In one company, Rob Cartwright for Cartwright Pest Control. Rob, would you come forward, and anybody else that you'd like to bring forward as well? And would you like to introduce who you brought with you?
My daughter, Julia.
That's good. Okay, Belinda, you have a proclamation to read.
Yes, I do. This is a proclamation for Cartwright Pest Control Day, February 28, 2017. Whereas businesses are a vital part of El Cajon's community, providing needed jobs, products, and services for residents. Cartwright Pest Control has been a long-established business in El Cajon, founded in 1967. The City of El Cajon thanks Cartwright Pest Control's 3 generations of leadership, currently led by family member Robert Cartwright. And whereas Cartwright Pest Control has a long history of civic contributions, including providing leadership and assistance to the El Cajon Bobby Sox Association, Boys and Girls Clubs of East County, El Cajon Kiwanis Club, the Mother Goose Parade Association, cheerleading organizations, youth football, baseball, and soccer throughout El Cajon and surrounding communities. Cartwright also sponsored and coached a travel baseball team, which won a national championship in 2009. Athletes from this team earned subsequent academic and sports scholarships and went on to play baseball in college as well as Major League Baseball. And whereas during the 2003 wildfires, Cartwright Pest Control helped obtain a generator to provide emergency assistance and used its trucks to move supplies and food for victims in East County. It also donated staff time, trucks, and use of their business location to acquire, host, and give away over 100 Christmas trees in December 2016, free of charge to residents of El Cajon who otherwise may not have been able to afford a tree. And whereas Cartwright Pest Control, together with the San Diego Regional Airport Authority, was one of only 6 recipients statewide to be awarded the 2016 California Department of Pesticide Regulations Integrated Pest Management Achievement Award for leadership in pest prevention strategies. Now, therefore, I, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim February 28, 2017 to be Cartwright Pest Control Day in the City of El Cajon in recognition of the decades of charitable contributions Cartwright Pest Control has made to the residents and organizations in El Cajon. Be it further resolved that the City of El Cajon celebrates Cartwright Pest Control's 55th anniversary of business in El Cajon in 2017, thanking the company for providing the city's residents and businesses with award-winning service. Signed this 28th day of February 2017.
So, Rob, on behalf of the citizens of El Cajon, the City Council, we'd like to present this proclamation that today is Cartwright Pest Control Day throughout the City of El Cajon. Congratulations.
On behalf of the Cartwright family and its employees, I'd like to first of all thank everybody, because a business is only as strong as its community. And that was one thing when my grandfather started this company back many, many years ago that he instilled in all the generations of our family is, first of all, is your citizens and the community is number one. And I think that was probably the strongest point of us surviving 55 years. And the 4th generation standing next to me, we continue to go strong in El Cajon and continue to help with the community and serve and help whatever way we can as a business to all the departments within the city and the community. And again, to the City Council and staff, thank you very much for this award. It's greatly appreciated on behalf of my family, my employees, and the business. Thank you.
Go ahead, one last round of applause, please. Thank you. So our last presentation features a slideshow, and I'd like to ask the City Council to return their seats and so we can have the slideshow. We now have an update on the San Diego International Airport and the Airport Authority. Board member Mary Sessom, representing the East County cities, is here to give the presentation. As Mary walks up to the podium, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and congratulate her on concluding a successful 20-year career as mayor for the city of Lemon Grove. Congratulations, Mary, and may I say we miss you.
Thank you, Bill. Oh, I miss you guys, too. It's so nice to be here. Thank you. Before I get started on the airport, do you know that awful mess as you come off 94 onto Lemon Grove Avenue and everything is torn apart? We have those beautiful promenade, we have those beautiful buildings, and you can't get into Lemon Grove without experiencing that horrible construction. Majid, that's your fault. He brainstormed, I don't know how many years ago, a way that we could revitalize our downtown by building our promenade park, by putting in the new housing that's going in there now and that's already there, and rerouting, redesigning Lemon Grove Avenue, the off-ramp, and everything else up there. So when we hopefully break ground this summer, or cut the ribbon this summer of 2017, Lemon Grove, you can get in and out of Lemon Grove without crossing the trolley tracks. You can cross them if you want to. It will be a beautiful ride, and for that, we thank Majid. Good luck in Dallas. I'm a Longhorn, but Dallas is good.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
All right. Now, I am a board member for the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority. I want to make sure I don't say Lindbergh Field because staff just gets upset because it's the San Diego International Airport now. This body is created by statute from the Port District. It was pulled out of the Port District, the airport was, and initiated in 2003. I sat on the first permanent board. Our job is to operate the airport, to plan for our future airport needs, to look at how the land surrounding all of the airports in San Diego County operate, whether they're safe or not. There are 9 members to this. We're all appointed. None of us are elected. The 4 subregions of the county get together with their mayors, and their mayors are appointed. I was appointed by Mayor Wells, Mayor Vopel, Mayor Apostasis, and myself. My term will be up in February of 2019. Next. Especially for you 2 new our council members, we sit at the Airport Authority as the land use planning group. Our job is to make sure 2 things happen. One is that development around all the airports, not just San Diego International, but all the airports in San Diego County, do not encroach into certain protection zones. The purpose of that is to make sure aviation has the ability to fly freely and also to keep the public safe, whether it's from crashes, whether it's from noise, whatever could impact the safety of the public on the ground. To do that, we meet as a group, look at development plans that may come from the city of El Cajon, for example, for Gillespie Field, and decide whether or not certain of your developments are compatible with our plans. If they are not compatible, we will indicate to you how we can make them compatible. If you do not like our decision, you as a council can override it by a 2/3 vote. I suggest you strongly think about it before you do that, because City of Santee has overridden us a couple of times with some not the best results, and so has the City of San Diego in terms of crashes in buildings where they shouldn't have been. But that is your prerogative. These are the airports that we oversee and that we have land use over. Gillespie Field, I just want to give you a sense of our area of influence in Gillespie Field. You do have a little bit out in your out in the Fletcher Hills area. Most of it is involved in Santee. If you have problems with noise out of Gillespie Field. And I know we do get calls from particularly Fletcher Hills. That really is not anything that we have control over. We do not manage the airports. We simply take care of the space around the airports. The Gillespie Field is run by the County of San Diego. So if your citizens have complaints about what's happening at Gillespie, call your supervisor. But I will be happy to facilitate any kind of meetings that you need. In addition to this, let me stop here. Does anybody have any questions on this before we move on? Excellent. You do have handouts on this. Moving along to something that is of some interest to El Cajon. You may have heard that the FAA is revamping how it brings planes in and out of San Diego International Airport. These are a couple of charts that are taken off the FAA website, so I apologize, it's kind of hard to see, but they are narrowing the approach routes and the departure routes. What is of interest to East County is that as the routes narrow, they become more concentrated over populated areas. Theoretically, the citizens of El Cajon should experience no additional noise as a result of this narrowing of the approach patterns. La Mesa is going to be the most impacted, so they're going to be dealing with that. But if you need any information on how this particularly impacts Lemon Grove, or not Lemon Grove, I'm sorry, I'm back in my city, El Cajon, please let me know, and I will hook you up with the folks from the Airport Authority who can go into great detail about exactly what these flight paths look like. Finally, this is just of general populace interest. We are planning the new look for the regional airport. It's a small footprint. This is our airport development plan. We are in the process right now. If you've been down there, you know parking at Terminal 2 is difficult just because we're building a parking structure to accommodate more parking as we get up to be a busier and busier airport. You've seen the consolidated car rental on the north side. That's very successful, especially with the on-site road that takes folks right from the rental facility all over to all of the terminals. Yeah, thank you. There we go. Got our pointer going here. Except for one little tiny bit, it does not go onto the public roadway. And we have shuttles that run folks over. What's particularly good to my heart is that Terminal 1, which is where Southwest flies out of, and most of us, if we fly up to Sacramento, fly out of there. Terminal 1 is scheduled to be demolished. That, what you see there is just a holding footprint for what we eventually hope to build. We're going to be putting in more gates, a larger customs facility, because we are operating more and hosting more and more international flights. So stay tuned as we develop more and more of the international airport and how it's going to look in the future. I probably won't be around to see the final build out, but that's what planning's all about. Questions?
Any questions for Mary? Ben?
I actually spent a few months getting pretty well educated on the Gillespie Field because I live in Fletcher Hills, and so that situation, you already know, right? It's like there's so much animosity between residents and the airport. It's like a Israel-Palestine situation going on there. But are you available for meetings then? I know you said you're available if we reach out to you, so could I get your contact?
You can, please. I will leave that with the clerk.
That'd be good.
A card with the clerk. Of what you might want to do, council member, is the city of Santee. I've met with them several times out at the airport with the airport manager. So if you believe there's unity and there's strength in numbers, be happy to meet with the city of Santee and you and the airport manager. And if we can get Supervisor Jacob there, I think that would be a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, we can definitely work up to that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I think you covered everything. They sat here stunned and without any questions. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you're doing. And
I'm loving it. I'm loving it after 22 years on council.
Are you enjoying yourself being off council? And
Life is good.
good.
Life is good.
I'm
I'm doing
glad-
my real job with lots of pleasure.
Glad things are well for you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. This brings us then to agenda changes. And staff, do you have any agenda changes?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Item 1.5 on your consent calendar has to do with the resolution of declaring an emergency for storm damage due to the rains that we have had over the last 24 hours, which we understand is the heaviest 24-hour period in 20 years here in El Cajon and the rest of the county. We have two additional sites where we had storm drain damage, one of them on Petrie Street and one of them on Hill Street. So we are asking for you to put a new item, a 1.10, on your agenda, allocating $50,000 to do emergency repairs to these two sites. When we do we'll have a situation like this, an emergency situation, adding something late to the agenda, it does require 4/5 vote. So we are requesting or recommending that the council vote to add 1.10. The city attorney has just put on your desk a few minutes ago the draft resolution to the consent calendar, and then you could formally approve it along with the rest of the consent calendar. No other changes.
Okay. Council, any changes?
So move.
No other changes, though? No. Okay, great. Then, so does anybody want to, I'll go ahead and pull item 1.10 so that the city attorney can explain the specifics for us. Other than that, let's go ahead and do that one now.
Well, Mayor, first we need to add it to the agenda. Mr. McClellan has made a motion to add it to the agenda.
You're correct. Okay. Is there a second for?
Second.
Move and second, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Now I'd like to pull item 1.10 for you to explain.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council, as Mr. Wilford indicated, these are two new sites of damage to public property out in the community, two sinkholes that have arisen out of the storms yesterday, really. And so after the agenda was posted, we asked that we add this to supplement the ongoing repairs as well as the repairs asked for in item 1.5. In the case of the Petrie Drive, or street rather, location, it's a large hole, 12 by 10 by 18, I think, 8 feet deep, I guess it is. And it's undermined a public sidewalk, and it's created a dangerous situation for that sidewalk and needs support as well as a replacement of the pipe. In this case, as in all other cases, the replacement will be with concrete pipe rather than the corrugated metal pipe, so it should last much longer. And the property on Hill Street is a crossing of Hill Street with a different type of corrugated metal pipe, and this, again, will be replaced with stronger concrete pipe for the length of the roadway and has some appurtenant facilities that will be added to that as well. And Mr. Al-Ghafri might want to add anything else to talk about engineering things.
A quick question, Doug. This is coming out of our contingency fund, right? Not our general fund.
That's correct.
Excellent.
That's correct. Yeah, we have money set aside in our capital improvements fund to anticipate emergencies like this.
Any questions for the staff? Okay, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve all consent items, including 1.10.
Second.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I believe we're just taking this one item. I do have a couple of cards for consent items pulled, so if you'd like to make a motion
then
on this
I'll make a motion
item.
for, are there no cards for 1.10?
No cards for 1.10.
I can make a motion then just for 1.10 to approve. Move and second, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Then please call the cards that you have for the other consent items.
I have one card for item 1.6, and the speaker is Stephanie Harper.
Sorry. Hello. How's everybody? Okay. If I'm correct, this is regarding upgrading the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning for the City Hall building and for the council chambers here, correct? Okay. Are these buildings truly in need of upgrades, not repairs, but upgrades? I believe that there's no leaks and the heat still works, these buildings would be safe. So it leads me to believe, how much concern does council have for our citizens that are sleeping in the rain without heat in these winter conditions, when we can't help with the shelter, but we can spend $1,300,000 on upgrades? Really, where are your priorities? It doesn't seem like it's with your citizens. I believe once again council is turning a blind eye to where our city's funds need to go. In the fiscal year budget of 2015-2016, the adopted project budget was $1,450,000, but now the estimated cost is approximately $1,300,000. So is there $150,000 floating around? Let's stop and look at why we can't help our homeless situations. Not a shortage of land or space, but it's a lack of funds. So tell me, how am I supposed to look at this? Because I see council simply not caring about a problem that is really starting to affect our entire city, our citizens, our business, revenue coming into our city, not to mention the fact that these are human beings sleeping on the streets. But council see fits to spend over $1 million to do upgrades. I believe that any council member who votes to approve these unnecessary upgrades is showing the citizens that they just don't care. Thank you.
Well, I think it's worthwhile to go ahead and explain why we decided to do this upgrade at this point.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and council members. City staff has done extensive repairs on an ongoing basis to the existing system. The existing system is very outdated. Not only that, but it's also tied to the newly constructed police station. So it's imperative that we have an updated system so it doesn't fail and fail miserably, for that matter. We've done the patchwork and the repairs that we could do, and now it's major upgrades are needed. The City Council authorized the bidding of the project back in 2015 with a limited scope, and the bid came in much higher than the engineer's estimate. This time around with the rebid, it's going to be an all-encompassing rehabilitation work for the system, including the council chambers and all of the floors for the City Hall. And it's going to be a base bid plus additive alternate, so we can get the best out of the bidding process. So, and we believe that's going to be a lot more economical that way, and we should attract better bids and take care of this once and for all.
Any questions, Gary?
Aren't the new air conditioning systems more efficient than the ones we have now?
Absolutely, sir, and we would be able to save energy costs that way as well.
About how old are the ones that we have now that we're patching together?
I believe the latest upgrade we did was somewhere in the early 90s, but the system dates back to the age of the building.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I do have one card I just received for this item.
Okay.
Humbert Cabrera.
Hi, Humbert. Welcome.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, Council. As you know, I'm heavily involved in HVAC lead and also the California environmental regulations. So is the city. And it is the HVAC systems. We're asking our small businesses, little businesses, even people that just transfer from one business to another in order to upgrade their HVAC systems, because the state of California environmental regulations and the environmentalists are asking us to do this throughout California. And the procedure, the way that the city is doing it, is actually a better way than most cities like San Francisco, which actually ask you to get LEED certified. So you're actually saving money. In the long term, the HVAC system will actually save you money as well, because you'll have less heating and cooling costs. But the entire system, typically those systems are replaced every 10 years, and you haven't replaced it since the beginning of time. So it's about time that it needs to be done. It's a great thing. It's a requirement. It's actually going to save us money. Good job.
Thank you, Humbert.
No more cards for this item.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get all the cards out of the way. Are there any other cards?
Yes, for item 1.9, I have Meredith Stowers.
Hey, Meredith.
I think I screwed this up. I'm supposed to be public commenting for the St. Patrick's Day Half Marathon. Would you like me to wait?
Yeah, I'll have you back at public comment.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Apologize.
You know what? We can forgive you for this. It's not a big deal. Okay. Are there any other cards?
No other cards for consent items.
Okay. Any comments about consent items? Somewhere I can make a motion.
Move to approve the other consent items other than 1.10, which we've already done.
Second.
All right. The motion's been made and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
That now brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council Housing Authority successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Belinda, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, we do have several cards. Meredith Stowers.
Meredith, where have you been? How you doing?
Thanks for your grace on that. I wanted to once again thank the City Council and personally invite you down to the 5th annual St. Patrick's Day Half Marathon this Sunday. Shotgun is 7:15. We're grateful that you will come and shoot that gun. And it's also a great opportunity, as you all know, to really showcase El Cajon and the beautiful downtown. For those of you who don't know, we originated this idea out of the Chamber of Commerce, which has been an incredible supporter. Believe it or not, runners are a very wealthy community, and 2/3 of our runners and their supporters come from outside of East County. And it never fails for them to come down and say, wow, this is El Cajon. Look at those beautiful homes in the hills. Look at this downtown area that's so walkable and pretty. And then getting the news cameras down there all day and have this beautiful race. Races in the past are spectator. It's a very family-friendly event in partnership with Cajon Valley Schools, which David Maeshiro is very supportive of, and getting the kids out as well as their parents to get out there and exercise. And so we end up having as many as 20,000 people down there. So I encourage you to come down. I want to especially thank city staff. Sarah Ramirez and her team are amazing and have always been so helpful. And also police and public works. But I'd like to especially call to the attention Lieutenant Rob Bransweiler, who gives his personal attention off duty to this in ways that helps El Cajon that wouldn't be necessarily an on-duty thing. Also, thanks to the incredible sponsorship and support of groups like Waste Management, not only are they financially helping us with the race to pay for things like barricades and insurance and all that crazy, starting and finish lines, but they're also bringing out more than 100 trash cans and a roll-on, roll-off dumpster to make sure that we leave the city even cleaner than when we found it. So let me encourage you to come down. We have the half marathon, which I don't run unless I'm chased. We have the 5K, which you can walk or run. We have the Green Mile. We also have the Adult Tribes and Clans competition, which is a CrossFit-style competition sponsored by Barona Casino. And we have the Kids Tribes and Clans, which Cajon Valley helped us build out according to the presidential fitness standards. So come down, and of course we have the beer garden, which opens at 8 a.m. So it's St. Patrick's Day. Come and drink for charity, please. So I hope we'll see you all down there.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Any questions?
I think she covered it all.
Yeah, you did a great job. Thanks. We look forward to seeing it. And that's Sunday, right?
This Sunday. Shotguns at 7:15 a.m. The whole thing shuts down at 12 noon, so the city will be back and moving, no problem. Thank you.
It's always a fun race. Thanks very much.
The next speaker is Bonnie Price.
Ms. Price, you going to tell us about you're going to run in the half marathon?
Oh, no. I was just going to ask if they're having green beer.
You know what, Meredith? Bonnie wants to know if we have any green beer. Okay.
Well, I'm glad they're having craft beer. Sounds good to me. I'm here because at the last meeting we had a disagreement about the local PD picking up where ICE left off, and we did not hear from the police chief. So I looked up what other police chiefs were saying, and I found out that the NYPD commissioner, Bill Bratton, says, no way are we going to pick up for ICE. And the reason is that it would be a danger to the community to have the police basically shut down their communication between immigrant communities and the police. People who are immigrants, undocumented immigrants, are afraid of police, and they would be, in effect, not talking to police if they knew they could be handed over to ICE. And so I would urge you, even though all of you voted, all but one, voted to support that letter that went to Joe Anderson, think about the future. Get your police chief to come up here and share his expertise and think about how the community would be changed if a large part of the community would not deal with the police because they were afraid. That would make the place more dangerous, as I see it, as Bill Bratton sees it. And I think we all agree NYPD is one of the best police forces in the country. And second is El Cajon, of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Eric Lund.
Hello, Eric. Welcome. How's the chamber?
Great, Mayor. Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to start off by saying that the Chamber of Commerce really does want to echo a lot of the sentiments that were made about Majid. We're going to really miss you. Good luck on your new career, but you've been a great partner here in the community, and we really do appreciate all that you've done for us. Thank you. I'd just like to give a real brief and quick update regarding the San Diego East County Homeless Task Force. We've been meeting. We've had 3 meetings so far. I want to thank the city, our city representatives, the police department. We've had pretty much all of the agencies involved in trying to tackle this homeless issue. And I think everybody can agree that homelessness is a pretty big issue, and it's impacted each of us individually, as well as a city and as a region. Basically, our first meeting was a report-out session. Our second meeting was a brainstorming session. We had about 150 people there. And then our third meeting was basically an analysis of that brainstorming session and all of the ideas that we had everybody in the community contributing. And it was really great to see about 12 different tables with 10 people at every table, rotating around, providing great ideas. And from that, we've come up with an initial plan. So it's our action plan moving forward. And what we've defined as 10 key topics or program areas that we're going to try to tackle as teams. And they're going to come back, these groups. And we've got volunteers on every single one of these teams who are going to help define actionable items that they can do to tackle some of these key issues. And I'll just give you some examples of the ideas that came out of the meetings. One is to have a stronger marketing program that will communicate to the public, to our business community, and even to the homeless directly. So probably 3 different pieces. A stronger marketing plan or marketing approach to communicate effectively about homelessness and issues related to that. Also, number 2, defining the data that we need so we can benchmark where we're at and then analyze as we move forward and we apply some of these action plan items. Are we seeing success or not? Third, we're We're going to be organizing the contact teams, so it's not always the police department that has to respond to homeless issues. We have other teams out there that are currently interacting with the homeless, and we want to organize that whole effort a little bit more so that it's unified. Fourth, we're trying to solve the services confusion because there's so many services. There's a lot of services for homeless out there. The problem is there's so many of them, and a lot of it's fractured and not unified and not organized. And so we're going to try to help define specific entities that homeless can be directed to for appropriate services. Fifth.
Excuse me for a second. Can you go ahead and turn off the slide? I want to hear all he has to say.
I'm sorry. I'll go through it quicker.
That's okay. We try to stick with but this is really an important issue. And
it is.
I need to hear what.
So reunification program, there's a lot of homeless that in San Diego has had great success at reunifying homeless folks with their family members or with relatives. 6 shelters, temporary and long-term, as well as day centers and programs that are related to that kind of thing. 7th is going to be mental illness. So, how do we deal with the mental illness and addiction issues? 8th, crime and illegal issues. How do we deal with that appropriately? How does business respond if they're having issues? Who do they call? What's the best approach? And then 9th, homeless youth. We have a lot of homeless youth that attend our schools and attend our colleges, and how do we deal with them and help them succeed in life? And then finally, we're going to try to define some leadership structure to this whole regional approach so that we can make sure that it's long-term and that it's lasting and that it's organized, especially from a standpoint of volunteers moving forward. So that's my report. I'm just really proud of everybody that's been participating, and I want to thank everybody in the public that's helped out. Thank you.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Any questions? Council? Mr. Goebel?
Eric, you've done a fantastic job of leading this regional, countywide issue, and I appreciate the work that you've done. It's not just an El Cajon problem. It's an East County problem, so appreciate you taking a regional view of this thing. The council will be represented on team number 4, which is the consolidation of services and where do they all come from. So that's going to be a great thing to look forward to, and we're in there with you.
Great, thank you.
Eric, thanks for the hard work. Please pass along to all the other volunteers how much we appreciate what you're doing.
And again, thank you to staff and the city and to the public for helping to make this work. So,
excellent.
Lydia Shea.
Ms. Shea, are you here? Okay.
Right, and Stephanie Harper.
Basically, this is has to do with a meeting at 7 o'clock, so I don't know if I can talk about it, because I'm going to be at the district-based meeting at 7 at Chase Avenue School tonight.
Yeah,
so I won't be able to be at that meeting, so
sure.
I just wanted to use my public comment for that, having to do with item 101, the 7 p.m. meeting.
I don't remember.
Or CB, or Community Development Block Funds.
Yes.
I went through it and just seen kind of where they were going. So this is just kind of like just a bunch of little kind of questions and stuff and comments for it. I noticed on there was a new emergency housing placement service for low-income families that I hadn't seen before. So I would like to know like what kind of types of services that program's going to exactly entail. There's $215,000 for administrative fees, and they're getting administrative fees on the home and the community block grant funds. So that just seems really excessive. We have like excessive amount of administration funds going out. Also, the EPAC Center, it said that there was about $550,000, I believe, from the last fiscal year budget. I'm only going to give them $150,000 this year. I think that maybe we could get our EPAC going and it could bring in some revenue for our city if we could put some more money into that. Another one was $135,000 for our park improvements. I love parks and I have nothing against that, but when we're giving more to that, to our parks, than we are to programs, and we're not giving any to programs that would be improving our future by training and providing employment, or programs that will provide necessary improvements for and repairs for low-income families' houses, then we're not putting our priorities straight. I believe the crisis house, with all that they do, they need to have the amount that they requested, which was, I believe, $49,000. Also, I believe that, just to be generous, we should be giving our Interfaith Shelter Network more funding than $7,000. I mean, they're doing a lot as far as for helping the homeless. And my last complaint was, it's to my understanding that from the personal research I've done for the East County Transitional Living, they charge $225 a week for a room, which is more than the hotel across the street. They claim the funding requested will be for 270 people for 28 days, and I know that we've paid for a lot more than that. I'd like to request a list of names or some way to identify how many people in non-religious programs that they help. And I have heard that once you enter this program through the East County Transitional Living, they take any income that you might be coming into you and your food stamp benefits too. They're not allowed visitors, and they're not allowed to leave. It's kind of like a prison. And I know these funds can be put to a better use, like maybe a transitional storage unit or some type of shelter vouchers, even use of a laundry service or use of a shower, these types of services. Please listen to the citizens you serve. Help us, because that's your job. Thank you.
You brought up a lot of points. I don't want to get deep in the weeds. There's a couple things I think you do have to understand. This CDBG money, this block grant money that comes from the federal government, it comes with strings on it.
Right.
The government tells us what pots of money we can spend, where we can spend that money. So we can't just say, oh, here we have this money, we have a great idea, let's go do this. There are certain areas that we are obligated to spend the money in. If you come tonight, there will be a lot of discussion back and forth about the various charities that are going to be competing for this money, and if you've been here before, you'll see that those numbers will, I guarantee, be different at the end of the night than they started out, because there will be a lot of horse trading going back and forth. And then the last thing is about the East County Transitional Living Center. It's probably been the most successful homeless program we've ever seen. Maybe we've ever seen in the entire county. And the money that we're giving them goes to cold weather shelter programs that have nothing to do with any kind of faith or any of the things that you talked about. So it is a faith-based program, but they also have other aspects of the programming. So I encourage you to come back tonight and take a look, and I think you'd feel comfortable that most of your concerns will be addressed.
Okay, that's great. And I would love to go tonight, but I have missed the two other district-based meetings.
You're very involved, and I know you're everywhere. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have no other cards under public comment.
Okay. There are no written communications, and this brings us then to public hearings. Item 3.1 is a public hearing on delinquent refuse collection charges, and I'd like to ask Majid to explain this to us, please.
Honorable Mayor and council members, I'd like to share some of the background on this specific item. The city went into mandatory trash services in 1996 and contracted with Waste Management to provide the billing for the regular services. However, the city retained the responsibility for liening any delinquent and late accounts. We have about 14,000 accounts that Waste Management manages in terms of billing services. There are exceptions to the billing services. There's three specific exceptions. If an individual lives and works in the city of El Cajon, they can take their residence trash to their businesses and has a contract with Waste Management. Then they don't have to have an account. If the property is vacated, or if they can provide receipts for waste from a waste receiving site. And so this has been very diligent in making sure that the billing system is accurate and that the funds are collected for that one. Every 4 months, delinquent accounts of more than 120 days and over $40 of a balance will be part of the list for the delinquencies. However, the residents have the opportunity to pay the delinquencies up to the public hearing or the council meeting. The notice of delinquencies that were sent for this specific time. So it happens 3 times a year. For this specific time, the notice of delinquency was sent on January 18th, 2017. And it had a lot more than the last number that we are going to report, which is, as of today, only 469 of the delinquent accounts. We started with over 800 accounts. Now over 469 delinquents account, totaling $73,716.11 are part of this delinquency. Since Waste Management pays the city 15% for franchise fee, the city's portion of that delinquency amounts to $11,057.42, and that concludes my report.
Okay, great. Thank you, Majid. Council, have any questions or comments? Public hearing then is open. And Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
No cards on this item.
I'd like to make a motion. Let's second that. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. Any discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion?
Make a move to motion to adopt the next resolution about the delinquent payments and trash management.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 3.2 then is a public hearing on delinquent sewer charges.
Honorable Mayor and council members, I'd like to share a little bit also background on this. From 1971 to 2012, Helix Water District conducted the billing for Cajon residents for the sewer services. However, Helix notified the city back in 2011 that they will no longer be able to provide the sewer billing because they were going to a new system. Therefore, the city contracted out with Global Water Management Billing for this service back in October of 2012. We have roughly about 16,500 accounts. Those accounts are billed on a bi-monthly basis. 79% of them are what's called a fixed rate. 21% of it is a consumption-based activity. The city typically experiences about 6 to 8% of delinquent accounts every cycle billing period or every reporting period of a delinquent account. And similar to solid waste, the delinquent notification happens every 4 months, so it's 3 times a year. In sending individuals bills, they have up to about 112 days to pay that. So it doesn't become delinquent immediately. It actually becomes delinquent after notification is sent. We send a bill, and there's 28 days for an individual to pay the bill. We wait another 7 days, and then if they don't, then we send a notice of delinquency, and that takes another 30 days, and then they have another 30 days to pay it. So there's plenty of time to pay the bill before the public hearing. And so as a result of that, there's plenty of time given to the residents, as well as notification is given to property owners before that happens. As of today's date, there's only 540 delinquent accounts out of the 16,500. The amount is $134,000, so there's a typo in the staff's report. Actually, it was misreported as $73,000, but it's actually $134,000. And that concludes my staff's report.
Thank you very much for that. Council, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Mr. Goebel?
During the time that a person is delinquent, are any fines or interest assessed?
That's a great question, Councilman. There is a one-time assessment when the account becomes late of 10%. And then if the account becomes delinquent and it goes through the tax roll, there is a penalty, there is an admin penalty of $25 plus an interest of 1.5% added to the account.
Any other questions? Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
No cards on this item.
All right. I think we still have to make a motion to close the public hearing. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Move to adopt the next resolution and authorize the city clerk to put it on a lien on the delinquent properties.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 3.3 is the one-year review of a code compliance case at 709 Hillsview Road. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Honorable Mayor and council members, I will ask Dan Paval, our building official, fire marshal, to introduce the item.
Thank you, Majid. Hello, Mayor and City Council.
Thanks for coming, Dan.
No problem. You've read my report. This is basically a one-year review. This was a very old code enforcement case dating back from 2006 to about 2008. The property at one time was had a lot of material on it. The woman who owned the property was what you'd consider to be a hoarder. There was a lot of police activity on the property. Since that time period, it went to the city attorney's office, who began working with their attorney. The problems resolved themselves, and the case kind of languished and kind of resurfaced only when the property owner, Mrs. Loper, passed away, and her son, Mr. Steve Loper, wanted to have the property moved into his name. So that's when he came back to City Council in 2015, November 10th of 2015. We did do a one-year review based on that council meeting that took place in November 10th of 2015, found that the property does meet the minimum standards, and so now we have a recommendation for council.
Okay. Any questions for code compliance?
No.
Yeah. Dan, so everybody was cooperative, and the city got everything they wanted and needed out of the case, right?
Yeah, there are no more problems with the property. It's you wouldn't call it the best property on the street, but it meets minimum standards. So now there's what we just need to resolve at this point is the outstanding civil penalties that we've held in abeyance for a year.
Yeah.
That's what this meeting is really about.
And as I remember, was there some discussion at that point if everybody cooperated, we'd be more lenient in that respect?
Yeah, I think I can't tell you what the council's intention was. My understanding was that the civil penalties would be held in abeyance, pending that the property is still in good condition.
Okay.
That was my understanding.
And you feel that those conditions have been met?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Tim. Sure. All right. Public hearing is now open. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
No cards on this item.
Make a motion then to close public hearing.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. Well, as is my custom, I like to reward good behavior by reducing the civil penalties. It seems like we should waive them at this point, unless anybody has any other thoughts.
Well, since the property's been moved over to the son because the mother died, I think that that's staff recommendation is the right thing to do. So that would be my motion.
Mr. Goldman?
I agree that we're not in the business of punishing people and really trying to stick it to somebody. We just want to get the solution fixed, as city staff has said, and I think that's a very proper gesture to waive those penalties. I do think it's proper to recover staff time, which seems to be a nominal amount in this case, so I support your point of view.
Is that a second? Before we go to the vote, though, Gary?
I agree with Councilmember McClellan and Goebel. we're not in the business of punishing people. It's a lot of money, $12,650, but they did what we asked, so I think we just bill them what it cost us, what it actually costs the city to enforce this.
All right, there's a motion and a second on the table. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 4.1 is the El Cajon Elves. Instead of asking staff to introduce this, I'll just pass this over to Mr. Colascio, and you can explain it to us.
The El Cajon Elves idea was an idea that was sort of adopted from the Santee Santas organization, which caters more towards children with respect to toy collection, having a toy drive, and canned food drive, although they do have some elderly programs and outreach. The El Cajon Elves would be similar in that respect, in that 501c3 setup and structure. And as far as the fiscal responsibility from the city, it would just be for a website initially, the creation of building a site, and then the maintenance of a site, which I put a figure on, which is roughly more than $2,000, less than $3,000 for a one-time cost, and then a $20 a month service upkeep fee. Basically what this organization would do is they would collect slippers, socks, and blankets, and maybe throughout the process see other necessities that the elderly and seniors would want, and then we can add that into the barrage of things that we can donate. And the idea was that if they volunteers, because this would be based on volunteers and not city staff, if they wanted to dress like elves during the holidays and go sing Christmas carols to the elderly, I think it would be a cool and novel idea to do. The Santee Santas dress like Santas, and so I think it would be a good idea. It would be fun. Looking at the programs currently for seniors, I don't see anything that's remotely close to this. The Union Tribune did an article on this, and I'd like to quote Sam Medica, who is the president of the Santee Santas. It says, and I quote, "He thinks there is a need for something similar in El Cajon. Families who live in El Cajon have reached out for help to his group, and Medica said that they have had to turn them down." So I think there's definitely a need for something like that here in El Cajon, and I always try to assess the fiscal responsibility or the fiscal impact that it would have for El Cajon, and it's very nominal, and so I think this idea is great, and that concludes my synopsis.
Any questions? Bob?
Yeah, the reason I didn't support this the first time was because the Meals on Wheels, Crisis House, Toys for Tots, Salvation Army, Volunteers of America.
Councilmember McClellan, could I ask, is your mic on? Or
yes, it is.
I'm sorry, could you just bring it down? We can't hear.
And all of these groups ask for volunteers to provide their services, and I've just felt that this would be diluting the other groups that we already have that are very successful in El Cajon, and it's probably a really good cause, and I don't know how many seniors are without slippers, but obviously we wouldn't want them to be without slippers and blankets, but a lot of these groups provide those type of things, so it's just another thing that I don't know if the city should be involved or whether it should be a private organization that would do this, so I have mixed emotions about it.
Any other questions or?
Question for Councilmember Colascio. Who would be running this organization?
Well, initially, I think to get it off the ground, as being somebody who creates organizations in the past, successful ones, I think I could oversee that. I think this would be like a pet project of mine, and I think, enjoy it. I think eventually I can envision this going into the hands of a complete volunteer committee or board, and they could report to us every quarter. But initially, I think it would need to be supervised by, I think, the author of this proposal. I've done it before, obviously, with the Cajon Chamber or the other organizations that we started. So that, and I just want to kind of touch on Bob's concern, which is very valid, except that those organizations, everything's really so broad, so this would be more of a focused effort. And clearly, if those organizations already do exist, then they wouldn't reach out to the CNT Santas for more assistance. I think with this kind of stuff, you can never really have too many, especially with a category like seniors and elderly, because for the most part they're helpless. And slippers, blankets, and socks it was just something that I thought of, because seniors aren't looking to get into tennis rackets or things like that. So it was just kind of the most logical thing, but it can always expand.
Steve?
The current request seems to be about $5,000 to help set up a 501c3. Would that represent the totality of requests in 2016?
2016?
2017, where are we?
Yeah.
2017.
So it really would so the cost of a 501c3, I don't know if Doug wants to jump in, or the actual manpower cost to set these up, because I've done it before, and it takes the initial time spent isn't what takes a long time, it's the actual getting it back from the IRS and that.
And Morgan may want to comment, but the city has assisted with this twice that I can remember. One is a few years ago with the Valley of Cars, the New Auto Association. The other one is the city set up the 501c3 for ACES, which is the Animal Shelter Volunteer Group. And in discussing this proposal with Morgan, he indicated, he agreed with Councilmember Kalasha's estimate of how long this takes. And what it is, it's filling out forms and responding off and on throughout about a year. And he estimated it would take about $5,000 of his staff's time.
So that would be a one-time cost, and then building the website is a one-time cost. It's only the $20 a month maintenance for the website. Obviously, the continuance of updating photos and content on there needs to be dealt in-house within the organization of the El Cajon Elves, because for a higher turnaround, and rather than updating a website that takes 3 days to update, we can do it within minutes.
I guess my question is trying to get my hands around the scope of the city's contribution as one time or as an ongoing. Is the request today for assistance in setting up a 501c3, and then there would be additional requests that we would be presented with during the year?
No, there wouldn't be. I mean, once the 501 gets approved, and then we would move to just depend on a volunteer basis. But we would also need to build a website, so it would be those two contributions. And I didn't know what the cost of a 501c3 is, because that's coming out of somebody else's office. I just knew the cost of the website, so it would be a one time for both of those.
Any other questions? Bob?
Well, if staff has the time to do this, and it is a worthy cause, it probably is just for seniors and things, so that would be good if Councilman Kalasha would kind of spearhead this and make it happen, and it'd probably be a good thing. So hopefully not too many of the volunteers that are already involved with other organizations, it'll take their time away from that, and they'll give up the jobs that they're already doing now. So hopefully this will be a new group of people to do this. So that could be a good thing, and it's not that much big expense for the city of El Cajon to get it started, and if it works, well, that's wonderful, and the people that it serves will be very beneficial as far as the contributions that it makes. So I would support it on those reasons.
Let's see if there's any speaker cards on this.
Yes, I do have several cards. The first speaker is Tony Sotile.
Hi, Tony.
Hello, Bill. I want to thank you for the good service that you have been providing to the city of El Cajon. I really appreciate it. You can see the difference here in the city of El Cajon, what has been done. I think what Mr. Councilman Colasso is proposing is a beneficial good thing. It's something that's promoting help for those who are in need. However, in principle, I do not agree. There is a separation of duties. There is such a thing as separation of powers. And as a matter of fact, our system that we have today is based on separation. Now, government's duty and responsibility is to promote justice and to mete out, reward and also punishment for those who commit a crime against society or not abide by the rules and regulations. It's not the duty of municipal or government to be in the business of a church or a gratuitous organization. That is not the responsibility of government. I disagree with government supplying monies or making contributions to such an organization. But 501(c) should stand on its own. It should have its own board members, and government should be out of it. It should not be mixed into it whatsoever. Because if they are, then they're stepping in the toes of other organizations who have been structured for that particular purpose. And the purpose of the city is not to do that. The purpose is to what I just said previously. So I disagree wholeheartedly to start this organization, because down the line, who's going to manage these volunteers? There could be tax situations. There could be problems down the line. And I think the city should not be involved in it whatsoever. It should be completely independent of a city government. And this is how I strongly feel about that the separation should be there and it should be drawn. And I think there should not be any blurring of it whatsoever. Zero. None. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony, let me see if there's any questions for you. Are there any questions for Tony?
Yeah, you kind of lost me in the beginning. I think it was it was just like a non sequitur, but with respect to a 501(c)(3), it would be independent of the city. So what was the question with that?
Well, why should the city fund an independent organization? If we fund an independent organization, then why not we'll fund other independent organizations?
We do.
We shouldn't.
Okay, but we do, though. So, but have you ever spoken out against any other organization that the city funds? Or is this your first time?
This is the first time, yes.
I understand now. Thanks.
Okay. What is it you understand?
I mean, it's on the agenda item. Maybe somebody asked you to come speak against it, but I'm not one to stand here and make allegations. It's just a little bit funny that somebody who, and I don't want to say that you're a senior, but
I am a senior.
Good. Then that you would be opposed to it, knowing that the city gives funds to other organizations. And it's further baffling that you wouldn't speak out against those except this one.
Yes, they donate money to other organizations, but they're not involved in creating those organizations and bringing them into fruition. That is done.
Sure, cities do that all the time.
Well, I disagree with
I understand.
the cities doing that. I think
I got that
the
point. Separation
of power has to be separate. There can be no commingling of that whatsoever, because then the city becomes the church.
The city becomes a church?
Yeah, a 501(c) is like a church, a gratuitous organization. It takes the role of those organizations, which the city should not be taking the role, because they should be involved in justice, rewarding good and punishing evil. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah, we kind of don't do that here at the City Council. It's not like a reward good and punishing evil. That's not what we really do here. We make policy and government and introduce programs that are beneficial for the city. But I do understand what you're saying. And you also said that who is going to run it later, volunteers would run it later. Just like how, what would you say to the Santi Santas who have been going on ad nauseum like for 50 years?
Well, somebody's got to be in charge of the volunteers.
Yeah, right. So they do that, right? So it's not far-fetched or beyond the scope. I mean, to suggest that we can't do it or that we shouldn't do it, it's just kind of suspect.
What happens when somebody breaks a code of the city? Doesn't the person who broke the code get punished in one way or another? Doesn't abide by the zoning of the El Cajon city or the ordinances or the policies?
Well, it's not that cut and dry, no. I mean, I don't understand. There's no nexus between what you're saying and this proposal.
I just heard about people not paying their bills. Well, there was a penalty for not paying their bills. So there is a punishment for not paying your bill.
That's not our sole purpose here.
Well, I know, I realize that.
I don't want to go back and forth with you on that. I just want to let you know to address your two questions. One, the city wouldn't, besides the initial plan of funding it, wouldn't be involved in that capacity. And cities do this all the time, and we do it all the time. We give money all the time.
Well,
so it's just suspect that you're against it, but you're allowed to do that.
Right. Okay. I disagree with.
I know. I got it. I got that part.
You got that part. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Tony, thank you for coming. Well, Tony, before you leave, Bob has a question.
No, I have a question to staff.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. It's just, thank you, Tony.
If the city sets this up, is there any liability for if somebody goes out and they fall and trip or something like that and delivering something to a senior? Would the city be liable for any lawsuit or anything that happened as a result of somebody going on?
No, to answer your question, no. As long as the organization it's a private organization, the only thing that has been requested and that we've addressed is whether the city would be willing to provide some money to help establish the corporation. As Mr. Calascio indicated, the whole idea is to create a board of directors who will then take over the operations, just much like the ACES Foundation does, and we would have hands off at that point.
Yeah. Did we fund the ACES Foundation?
We funded, the city council funded the establishment of the corporation. And that one was a little bit more involved because part of it was allowing staff to be, some certain staff members to be on the board of directors as well. I don't anticipate that would be the same situation with this one.
Not only that, it benefits our animal shelter.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Other cards.
The next speaker is Carol Lewis.
Ms. Lewis.
Hi. Thank you, Mayor Wells. Thank you, council members. Thank you, staff. And Majid, my sentiments are very sad today, and we're going to miss you out in the community a lot. So just wanted to share that. I'm here today to address the Santa Elves. I'm with the El Cajon Collaborative. I'm the coordinator. El Cajon Collaborative has been serving El Cajon for 25 years, actually, this year. It's our anniversary year. We currently have 90 collaborative partners, including 3 school districts, the county health, and all of our social service agencies. El Cajon Collaborative maintains a El Cajon Resources website, and on that website we have senior services. Right now the website is getting over 3,000 page views every month, and we have between 800 to 900 unique viewers every month. So it's being used a lot. And we can also track what people are looking for on the website. And, of course, number one item that's always searched every month is access to food. Senior services comes in there around 10 or 11 usually. I was surprised to see this item on the agenda because it's very duplicative of services that we already have in El Cajon. I was contacted by Andrea Holmberg, who's the director of the Sharp Grossmont Senior Resource Center at Grossmont Hospital, and I have an email from her. She was sorry she could not be here today. I would like to read that email to you if I could. She's also on the board for this East County Senior Service Providers, of which I'm also a member. Her email says, I was surprised to read the story in the UT proposing $5,000 to start up a nonprofit to serve El Cajon seniors. Before establishing a nonprofit to serve El Cajon seniors, the city staff should study what services are available now and possibly provide funding to existing service providers if more is needed. The county's Aging and Independent Services conducts a survey to identify needs and recently held a forum in the El Cajon Library to discuss needs of seniors and disabled. The El Cajon Salvation Army has served seniors with a nutrition program, including transportation to and from the center, food pantry, commodities, a senior exercise program, free legal assistance, and more. The Sharp Grossmont Senior Resource Center provides flu shots for seniors, adults, and chronic illnesses if they fall. When seniors first come to the Salvation Army, they identify needs and staff to help find services for them. Flyers and brochures are available there to meet a variety of needs. 211 San Diego is a great resource for services. They help people of all ages identify services in their area. If El Cajon decides to provide funding for senior services, I would suggest senior services where seniors could attend education programs on health, exercise, computer skills, fall prevention, disease prevention, and art. We do have some other programs available in El Cajon already, including Elder Help with the Holiday Angels, and also Meals on Wheels, who provides gift bags and gifts to the seniors, including socks and slippers at Christmas time.
Thanks. Questions?
I want to thank you for everything that you do. It sounds like it's a lot. Do you guys specifically just give out slippers, socks, and blankets?
No, they have a welcome package that they give, and they also give bags or baskets to the seniors at Christmas and on their birthdays, and they collect several items to put in these baskets, depending on what the needs of that senior is, and usually their volunteers help identify those needs.
Yeah, so it would be like how Stoney's kids or Rob's kids or the Salvation Army all do things for toys. It just seems to be a little weird that they would speak against, opposing having more toy drives. But I do understand what you're saying. But yours is more broad, obviously. I'm on your website now, and although it's not really clear about what you guys do for seniors. I was looking through it when you were talking, but I do recognize that you guys do some things, and it's just not as focused as the initial plan. So the overlapping comment isn't as accurate as I think you're making it seem.
Well, Elder Help does Holiday Angels. They partner with United Parcel, and United Parcel families go out and meet with the seniors at Christmas time and bring them large baskets of items.
Yeah, I got that part.
And then the Salvation Army also does that as well. They serve, 90 homebound seniors every week, and about 1,000 meals a week as well.
Yeah, I see that. Great work.
Okay. I have Andrea's email. Would you guys like a copy?
You can give it to the city clerk if you like. Let me see if there's any other questions. Okay, thanks for coming.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks for all the good work you do.
Oh, thank you.
The next speaker is Hoagie Carmichael.
My apologies. Hoagie wanted to be here from AARP. He had a doctor's appointment, so he asked that I please.
Okay.
The next speaker is Dana Stevens.
Mayor and Council, thank you for hearing this item today, and thank you for raising the issues around senior needs, Councilmember Colascio. And truly, while supporting senior needs is a noble cause, El Cajon already has many 501c3 public benefit corporations that do just that, meeting the needs of the seniors. And I have to say, just last week, here at the Public Safety Center, the Live Well East Region Leadership Team met, and I know that the City of El Cajon is a Live Well partner. And at that meeting, we received a report from the County HHSA and AARP, their partner, on the newest addition to their 10-year Live Well initiative. It is known as Age Well San Diego. It is a partnership with the AARP, which does, in fact, have a chapter here in El Cajon. The initiative is currently conducting a survey, the link to which is on this brochure. It's on the back, and it can be put up on the city's website to actually find out more about what seniors do need. Because while I admire the commitment to support with $5,000 on behalf of the city, I would ask that that money be committed towards something that currently exists that could benefit with that additional $5,000, and that it actually meets a known need. I think Carol mentioned the County of San Diego's Aging and Independent Services Agency survey, and that is on the county's website. While it does not separate City of El Cajon from District 2, the needs assessment for District 2, the top response, there were two that were tied at 34% each, was yard work and minor home repairs. That was followed by routine housework at 18% and grocery shopping by 12%. So I guess I'm not as concerned about the lack of slippers or blankets when what seniors are asking for is help to stay in their homes, help to maintain the homes that they own here, and to be able to do the routine things that become difficult for seniors. The survey is on the Aging and Independent Services website. While Hoagie could not be here, he did send a note, and while I have a second left, I just want to share his comment. His note is to inform the City Council that the ARP of El Cajon and La Mesa, which is Chapter 4800, is against the proposal to create a new nonprofit for El Cajon seniors. We feel that the money proposed should go to an existing organization that serves the needs of our seniors, such as Elder Law and Advocacy, Salvation Army Senior Programs, Meals on Wheels, and the El Cajon Collaborative, just to name a few. I don't know why the council seems to think there is unmet need among the seniors, but if approved, this would be a duplication of programs and services already in existence. And he talks about the Aging and Independent Services. And they do monitor the funding that is provided to those other nonprofits. So a lack of evaluation and monitoring of how the funds would be used would be another concern. I do admire your proposal, Mr. Colascio. I would just hope that it would be put to use in a way that is not duplicative or creates another demand. Thank you.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Any questions? Ben, go ahead.
From the Union Tribune, Sam Medica said, and I quote, he's the president of the Santee Santas.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks there is a need for similar in El Cajon. Families who live in El Cajon have reached out for him to help through his group. Medica said that they have turned them down. So the argument of is there a need, it's just debunked. The guy that runs the Santee Santas, our city to the north,
Mm-hmm.
who is an expert in this, it's not just like anecdotal testimony, is saying that there is a need. So if the argument is there is a plethora of senior programs, don't have another one, but people are contacting the Santee Santas,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to draw conclusions like, are the current ones
under-resourced?
well, I don't want to say under-resourced, but maybe
I would.
Okay, so under-resourced, and maybe not marketing themselves to reach the elderly, because obviously older people aren't going to go online to sign up. So the way the Santee Santas does their outreach is they place boxes in businesses with toys, and people just throw them in there.
Yeah.
So this could be like a similar thing, right? And these organizations that you named don't do that.
So I'd like to answer your question because I did spend, I spent 19 years living in Santee, and in that time I spent about 10 of those years involved with Santee Santas. Why I believe that there, at least during my time, we did get calls from folks in El Cajon, and I'll tell you where they were from Pepper Drive School. Because Pepper Drive School is not in the city of Santee, their address is El Cajon. They say they live in El Cajon because their address is El Cajon, and they are in the Santee School District, and Santee School District supports Santee Santas and sends information home with the children to their parents, which is part of that generating. I actually did call a colleague who currently serves on the Santee Santas. She works for the school district, and she can't be here right now. But she lives in El Cajon. I did ask if she would come speak.
Because I know the board. Who'd you talk to?
She's a school district employee. I don't want to put that on public record that's posted on TV. I'll tell you privately. But she is an El Cajon resident. She's been here before. And she explained to me that there is a growing need at Pepper Drive, that the demographic at Pepper Drive School has changed over the recent years, and there are families living in poverty in the Pepper Drive attendance area at that school. And yes, they do receive the information from Sandy. I would encourage your colleague who raised the issue to tally. I get calls at my office for drug treatment services quite regularly. We keep a sheet at our phone when people call, and we make a tally of what they're calling, asking for, so that we can talk to our colleagues at the county who provide those services and let them know the number of calls that we get, and we refer them to the appropriate agency. I would ask your friend to take a track of what are they calling for.
Wait, my friend? Are you talking about the president of the Santee Santas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would ask him to take a tally of what people are actually asking for. I'm not suggesting that $5,000 is too much money. Heavens no. Our nonprofits that serve our seniors could use more. The city of El Cajon, though, does support housing for seniors right here on the city property, and right behind my office there's senior housing, towers of senior housing. City of Santee does not provide any senior housing. The city does provide for our seniors in ways that Santee does not. And I would just urge the city council to please, even if you want to continue investigating this concept, spend some time researching it. Find out what the needs are. Spend the $5,000 and do a survey at the different senior housing. Ask them if they need slippers or what they need. You can do that for a lot less than $5,000, then start your nonprofit next year.
You think spending $5,000 conducting a survey is money well spent?
You think spending $5,000 to pay for our own city attorney to file a 501c3? I filed my own 501c3, sir. It didn't cost me $5,000.
Right, but I wouldn't be able to do it sitting up here. It would have to go that way.
But nonprofits are generated from a need within a community that comes together to address that need and puts their own energy forward to create that lasting effort in a community. Our agency was formed as a 501c3 in this city 30 years ago because there was an interest, because people came together over a rising need. And before we got our 501c3, we had to do just that, community-based assessment. We documented the problems. We worked with City Council to help do that. Mr. McClellan was one of our founders in doing that. But no, we never asked the city to help file that. We did that ourselves. We sought out our own funding. And
That's because you were an elected official. I can't file my own paper.
Exactly, but we worked with the elected officials. We worked with Mr. McClellan and others on this council at that time to
But what's the point then
be
of that?
an advisor and help gather that information and to work with us, but not to be government taking the initiative. Where is the demand for these socks and blankets
I got that.
among seniors?
I'll tell you where the demand is. But then before I do, where is the Pepper School located? What city?
Pepper Drive School?
What city is that in?
It's in the city, it's in the unincorporated El Cajon, Pepper Drive.
So El Cajon? What's the county El Cajon address?
It's an El Cajon address, and they are in the Santee School District.
Right. So they're in the El Cajon address.
Yes.
And then this program's called El Cajon Elves? Wouldn't that play up my side of the argument? But
your Santee Santas are still going to send information to those families because they are part of the Santee School District. Then Santee School District supports Santee Santas.
I got that part. The part I have trouble with is that you are saying that it's only through that school, and I feel like that's
no, I'm saying that helps drive that demand.
Yeah, I feel like
there's confusion there, and that helps drive that demand.
Yeah, maybe. The demand, to answer your question, the demand is the UT article from the president of the Santee Santas, who understands that demand because he does that every day.
Yeah, that article was February 21st, after your proposal.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the February 21st.
Yeah, okay, and?
So I'm still asking, where is the documented demand? There's a quote from him saying we get calls.
But
where is the documented demand, sir? Where is the documentation of a problem? This is a solution that does not have a problem.
This is a solution that does not have a problem?
You're creating something to solve a non-existent problem.
Do you mind if I step in at this point?
Please, I'm sorry.
No, I think you're very passionate
Yeah,
about
very
what
good.
you do, and I think your point is well made.
Okay,
I think
thank you.
We're going to move on to
Okay,
the
thank
next
you.
level, but thank you. And
I
might I
appreciate
say
that.
thank you for everything you do, and Gary's got a question, too.
Oh, I just have a quick, I
Yes.
delivered food packages for the Santee Santas way back in the 1960s, so it may have
Yeah.
changed. Today, what do they actually provide?
Toys, canned foods, and some clothing and canned foods to elderly. So toys for kids.
Okay.
Canned foods for less lower-income families.
For everybody?
No, well, as many as...
Anybody that's low income.
Yeah, and they have their own formula of figuring that out, and then clothes and canned food. I mean, I just participated in theirs at the Toyota of Santee. So I saw it firsthand. Plus, I know a lot of the board members, so the need is definitely there. So when the idea was proposed to them, they thought it was great. And they obviously need as much help as they can.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Let's go ahead and finish the speakers. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And do you have another speaker?
Yes, I have one last card for this item from Humbert Cabrera.
I think I'd be remiss not pointing out that Humbert is 2016's Man of the Year for alcohol, right?
Thank you, Bill. Yes, Mr. Wells, thank you.
That's a big deal. That's great.
It's been a very good pleasure, as you see, a Rotary, Elks Club, Salvation Army, CASA, LAPA, whatever else. So pleasure to be here in El Cajon. Long-term resident, and I'm going to speak to you today with my board hat of Salvation Army, and then after as a private citizen. So as the board hat of Salvation Army, and actually on the building fund board also. I've been a board member for Salvation Army for almost a decade. I'm going to read to you just what we did in January. 186 new families were assisted. 1,108 families received food assistance. 346 families received government food commodities. 77 snack lunches were given to homeless people. 117 families received hygiene and paper products. 149 people received their mail. 13 families received vouchers to the thrift store. 108 volunteers worked 558 hours. 1,163 lunches served to seniors, plus duplicated. 1,890 meals delivered to seniors in their homes. 158 average people showing up at the door. We average 250 seniors daily. During Christmas, this number goes up, of course. We have access to thousands of seniors through various programs, Silvercrest, exercise classes, English classes, etc. I can go on and on. We have access through name recognition to dozens of homeless people and other similar groups such as Stoney's Kids, Rocks Church, and Toys for Tots. As far as blankets and shoes and hats and that kind of thing, every year we go to the Rotary Club, Lions Club, and the other clubs, and we actually ask them for those kinds of donations, and we hand them out to the seniors. We also go to the street and actually find the seniors and give that to them as well. As all of you know, we also have a 5-story building over there full of seniors that are being taken care of as well. Now, as a private citizen, government is never the solution. If you are a conservative and on this, and you're a council member or a mayor, the private sector is doing a fabulous job in El Cajon. I've actually done the Santee Santas only once, and Sam's a great guy, but they don't have a Salvation Army there. El Cajon does. They also don't have a lot of things. Talk about putting boxes in places. We put boxes everywhere. We fill them with toys and blankets, all sorts of things. We have all sorts of services here, and I would like to see. I mean, I've been working, as you all know, 6 years on that project to have that building built for a new food bank, new resources, new senior services that we desperately need here. We're so close. We raised $3 million. I need another $500,000 just to get it started to get to the $5 million. Besides that, I want to say that as far as Santee goes, we might be able to have this discussion in Santee, which I'll definitely go over there and have a discussion with them too. But as far as El Cajon goes, let's try to take care of the people that are already doing this job.
Thank you, Hubbard. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Bob?
Well, after hearing all of the speakers, I happen to agree with the speakers that say that we're already doing the job, so I won't be able to support this because I think we're already doing it, and I think if you really want to get involved with the Salvation Army or the Collaborative House or Crisis House or something like that, and donate your time there and your volunteer, and let's support the things that we already have.
Do you have any questions for Humbert, Bob?
No, I just appreciate everything he does and all of the work that he does, volunteer work, and the groups that he belongs to, and they're all good organizations, and maybe we need more people like him that would step forward and do more of this. So if anybody's interested in the Lions or the Rotary or the Kiwanis or any of these organizations or the Elks, I would encourage them to step forward, and these are great organizations that do a lot of these things, or the Salvation Army. So thank you, Humbert.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Majid. We're going to miss you very much. You did a great job.
Gary has a question for you.
Yes, Gary.
Taking advantage of all the knowledge you've accumulated wearing all these different service hats, what are the greatest needs for seniors here in El Cajon?
Well, seniors need, like Dana said, a lot of time it's actually doing the physical work. I mean, you'll see some of the different volunteer groups actually go out. Rotary Club is one of them. We go to senior housing. We go to different places that like Home Guiding Hands also, and we actually do the work in their yards. Move stuff, do these kinds of things, help them with their HVAC systems, little things that you take for granted that they don't have access to. That's probably number one. If you're talking about the homeless or the ones that are less apt to be able to take care of themselves, then the number one thing depends on what season it is. Typically in the wintertime, it's going to be, I need a jacket. And other times, it's forms of travel. I want to be able to get from one place to another. And there are different things that we do with busing people and actually going to their homes and taking care of them privately in their needs. We even go to the backcountry out in Alpine and other locations. As you all are aware, the Salvation Army here is servicing everything from La Mesa all the way out to El Centro. So there's a lot of volunteers that do a lot of work.
Okay. Thank you, Humbert. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Humbert. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any more cards?
No more cards on this item.
All right. I'll bring the discussion back to the council. I just want to say that I think I understand what you're trying to do. I think you thought it'd be nice and fun to do something special for seniors at Christmas time and have people dress like elves, and it would be a positive, happy thing. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And I think it's kind of a councilman's prerogative to pick up projects and promote them. So this kind of reminds me of the discussion we had earlier where somebody came and said we shouldn't fix the building because there are homeless people out there that could use the money. And if we use that line of logic, we'll never do anything. So I just wanted to say that's my thoughts on it, but I'll leave it to discussion for the council. Bob?
Said, I think this has already been done in El Cajon. So as I was reconsidering it, but I think that we don't need to do any more things than what we're already doing. And if we want to give $5,000 to the Salvation Army, I would rather go there than to start up a new program that would be a duplication of what we're already, or is already being done in the city. So that would be my determination that I won't be able to support it, as I did last time.
Steve?
Now that the request for the website is also on the table for $2,000 to $3,000, I have a couple questions on the website. What would the website do?
It would explain the services, how to apply to receive services. It would basically channel all the different services, to channel them into one website where people can go in and look at them and say, okay, this is what they provide. This is how I can sign up, either myself or elderly or seniors that I know. And then we would post, obviously, videos and pictures and things like that. So it's very minimal in its scope. I mean, because if people wanted to donate money too, I suppose you can have the capacity to donate money, and then we would buy the necessary items. But it would be similar to the Santee Santas. I don't know if you ever checked that website out. I mean, it's pretty basic in its in how it looks, and it's in its function. It serves a very basic function, but necessary because all the content and everything is on there.
So the intended audience of the website are the intended recipients?
Not entirely. I mean, it could be people who want to sign up their grandma or somebody they know. I mean, if you just intend it for the recipients, then you're not going to get any traffic because they're not surfing the web on that level. It's just like with Santee Santas, the toys, it's not 10-year-olds going on there or 8-year-olds trying to get these toys. They're not going on the website signing themselves up. It'll be like their parents or through other means. So for the seniors, it would be similar. I mean, it would be their kids or grandkids or whoever.
I think not all seniors are covered in this city. Statistically or realistically, the senior organizations that we have in town don't reach every senior in town. I just have to believe that. However, the city does provide substantial services to seniors in this city, in my opinion. And from the things. So to me, I always come back to what's best for the people. And to me, this isn't the city's money. This is the people's money. So what do the people want money to be spent on? If 100,000 people could step up here and say what they wanted the money spent on, I'm hearing a concern that the money is being spent to establish an organization rather than going to provide direct aid, if I'll call it that. That's a concern of mine. I realize in the past we've established ACEs and things, but I would say I have a concern using the people's money to establish an organization for which a sector there already exists many services. Tonight, we're going to have to say no to some of these services. Mama's Kitchen, staff recommendation, I believe, is not to fund any money from Mama's Kitchen, yet it's a very worthwhile organization. With that said, I'm not opposed to additional senior services. However, I'm still coming back. I think it's wise to give to organizations that are vetted and have some kind of track record of fulfilling the purpose that they were created for and fulfilling, when public money is given to them, that they're faithful with the use of those funds to give those to the cause that it was needed. So I'm not opposed to El Cajon Elves. I'm just saying I would prefer the money to go to direct aid rather than to create the organization. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Gary.
Well, what I'm hearing is everybody seems to think that some help for disadvantaged people is desirable. And perhaps as a compromise, we can just give Salvation Army $5,000, and if it makes Ben feel better, that we ask them to designate him for senior services. And that helps the seniors, and it buys whatever they need right away instead of paying for a website. If Ben wants to do that separately, all the better towards them.
Gary, I think you could put that out as a future agenda item, but
Okay.
I don't think we could make that decision tonight. Yeah. Well, Ben, would you like to make your last statement or make a motion?
No last statements. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Please vote.
I'd like to make a substitute motion.
Okay, you can make a substitute motion.
Let's give this another 30 days so we can do a little more research.
All right, Robert's Rules of Order say that we need to vote on the substitute motion first. If the substitute motion fails, then we go back to the initial motion. Is there a second for Gary's motion? Second. All right. Then please vote on the substitute motion of a 30-day extension.
The motion carries 4-1 with Councilmember Colascio voting no.
Okay. Well, democracy sometimes takes a long time. We're going to take a quick break so people can use the facilities, and we will come back and finish. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. All right, item 5 is commissioner reports, and there are no commissioner reports. Item 6.1 is my activities. Item 6.2 is the legislative report. I don't have anything new to add from last week. Item 6.3 is proposed improvements at Wells Park. And I'm going to read the recommendation from the agenda report. My recommendation will be that the city council direct the city manager to place proposed improvements at Wells Park on the upcoming agenda for the discussion and decision-making. This is kind of a broad subject. The issue about Wells Park is one of our biggest parks, one of our probably most important public gathering places. As I'm sure all of you have noticed, that there's been some problems lately at that park. There's been transients meeting at the park. There's been some possible lawlessness happening at the park. There's been some facilities that need improvement, and I think we need to take a look at the park and see what we can do to make it a better place for families. And so that would be my proposal. Nothing would happen as a result of this other than that we would recommend to staff that they bring back some proposals as to ways we can improve the park. Yes, Gary.
Bill, I think that's a really good idea because a lot of our citizens live in apartments, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of places for the kids to play in those apartments. And they need safe parks to get their energy out of them. Having had 3 kids, I know that. I used to take them to the park a lot. And, even though we had a yard, it was something that was really, they just run, and when they get home, they're too tired to cause me any trouble. So, I'm going to support you on this.
Well, council have any questions, concerns?
Good idea.
Let me see if there's any speaker cards.
No cards on this item.
Okay, then, is there any other discussion about that? I'd like to make the proposal then that we do just as I said, and I ask the staff to come back with a recommendation for us at a later date.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to find the page. I'm sorry. Well, that's okay. I'll just do it by memory. Item 6.4 is discussion of City Council policy regarding placing items on the agenda. Right now, the system we have right now, any one of us can put an item on the agenda. We put it on the agenda to then be voted on by the council to come back at a later date. I saw something that La Mesa did recently, which I thought made a lot of sense. They said that if a council member could not get another council member to agree to the concept of putting the agenda item on, that there was no point in bringing that to the council, because if you can't even get somebody else to agree to put it on the agenda item, you're not going to get the 3 votes necessary to pass the item. It would clean things up, and it frankly would take away the ability that often happens on councils, not just our council, but all councils, is to politicize items and to use putting things on the agenda as a way to make an item, even though it has no chance of passing, making it more political. And I think I'd like to avoid that kind of politicization. So that's my proposal. And see if there's any questions before we get started. Mr. Kalasho?
I have to say that I'm pretty shocked that you wanted to introduce this item on the agenda to be considered. It is placing a gag order on democracy in a sense. It's almost like a bullying tactic in an effort to silence voices from constituents, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Constituents would be deprived of their right to representation, and just because you call another councilman to explain your agenda item, that doesn't, you're not then free and clear from violating the Brown Act. And Morgan I'll defer to Morgan in a little bit. So, and La Mesa had a whole host of problems when they introduced this. And for somebody like me who's put things on the agenda almost every single council meeting, only to see it then shot down, I would then be somebody who's up here getting paid for nothing. So you are violating the Brown Act in creating a serial meeting, and so if you play it through, I call you, I give you my plan. I'm not like, hey, Bill, I got a homeless plan, bye. I'm going to tell you why I think my homeless plan is great, and we're going to talk about it for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Then you say, no, Ben, I don't think it's good. I'm going to go ahead and call Gary. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to go down that same motion with him, and he says no. And I'm going to go to Steve, and he's going to say no. That creates a serial meeting violation of the Brown Act. So not only are you going to, it's potential gray area, and I'm going to defer to council in a minute, but you're opening up the city for lawsuits, and this would be something that we see happening in the Senate and in the House, and this sort of muffling, and I think we're better than that. To say that we've politicized things here, I don't know that we have politicized it. I think it's reasonable disagreements, right? So Bob and I aren't going to really agree on much. We're 4 generations removed from each other, and so that's okay. The problem here is this: I don't have a problem with being the one vote. My problem is that when you guys are going to deny it on the phone, the people aren't going to get to hear the proposal. And once people hear the proposal and you guys shoot it down, I'm really okay with that. I'm not discouraged by it, but that's going to be a concern, a legal concern. And if something like this were to go get approved, I caution everybody here that I would probably file a complaint with the district attorney's office and the ACLU, because, for the reasons I stated, if you look at every single item I proposed was shot down, but at least I got my 2 seconds in front of the camera to tell residents about it, and that would just remove that altogether. So with that said, later on maybe Morgan can comment on the Brown Act violations, but when you play it through, and to give it the scenario that I gave, it's a serial meeting violation.
I'll ask the attorney to comment on this, but before we do that, I just want to see if there's any other concerns from the council. Mr. Goebel?
Well, as I understand this agenda item, it's just directing the city manager to place this on an upcoming agenda for further discussion, not much more than that. Am I reading that correctly?
You are exactly right.
Okay, thank you. I will save any concerns or comments, I guess, for that time.
Morgan, would you then comment on this Brown Act violation issue?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mr. Colascio makes a valid point. It's not insurmountable. I mean, there could be a way to handle this without violating the Brown Act, but as Mr. Goebel indicated, it's placing it on the agenda, and perhaps that report can address that as one of the elements. Certainly, the Brown Act has to be reviewed and seriously considered in that kind of a discussion with the council. There may be options or ways to help the council members to prevent the violation of the Brown Act, but those should be addressed or could be addressed at the time we have it on the agenda for discussion.
I
can give you just some thoughts. As Mr. Colascio indicated, there's an issue about a potential for a serial meeting occurring. And he's correct that if he goes down the line or any other council member goes down the line and you get to three of you who are voicing, explaining why they don't want to support placing something on the agenda, the three of you have potentially created a Brown Act violation. Now, you have to all know that you've all told him that or told the council member that. And so there's one defense to that. You may never know that you've indicated to the council member who's requested your support. But in order to avoid that, obviously, you may want to have rules about how far you go down the line, whether it's, two council members are the only two you could ever count on, because if you get no, you go to another person and you get a yes, then you can put it on the agenda. If you get a yes immediately, you can put it on the agenda as well. So there's a technique that may be able to help you from violating the law, but it's not foolproof. There certainly will be people that could complain that there is a violation simply by putting something on the agenda and having those discussions.
Well, I don't want to do anything that will put us in a position of violating the law. I'd like to get a full opinion on this. I'd like to then ask for a continuance on this entire motion until I get a full opinion from the attorney, if people have no objections.
Okay. So what you'd like is, all right, we'll prepare an opinion and we'll get it out to the city council and the public.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'd like to make that as a motion. Please vote.
The motion carries by a vote of 4-1, with Councilmember Colascio voting no.
Okay. Let me see where we are then. Councilmember Kendrick, anything from you?
In addition, I did have breakfast with last Saturday with Councilmember Goebel.
Mayor Pro Tem Bob McClung.
As reported.
Councilmember Colascio.
As reported.
Councilmember Goebel.
I, too, should put on my report breakfast with Councilmember Kendrick.
Stands to reason. So.
That is...
Unless you were to deny his claim.
No.
All right, there are no joint councilmember reports. There are no general information items and first readings of ordinances. Item 14.1 is a second reading of an ordinance approving zone reclassification number 2315. Council, do you have any questions or comments? Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
None for this item, but I was just, I just noticed that we do have 2 speaker cards, I'm sorry, for 6.4. And they may have left. I suppose we could have asked if they were able to return for the continued item, but.
Council, is there anything we need to do as a result of this?
No, it was an error, and it's unfortunate, but they have left, so perhaps the city clerk can notify them when this is going to be back on the agenda.
Thank you.
Yep. And back to item 14.1, we have no speaker cards.
Back here. Okay. Belinda, would you then recite the title of the ordinance?
Yes. An ordinance approving zone reclassification number 2315 for the rezoning of property located on the east side of South Magnolia Avenue between West Chase Avenue and Cajon View Drive from the residential single-family 20,000 square feet RS20 and residential single-family 40,000 square feet RS40 Hillside H overlay zone to the planned residential development PRD low and PRD low hillside overlay zone, APNs 493-391-06-07-14 and -15, general plan designation low density residential LLR and low density residential LR. And that's it.
All right. Would somebody like to proceed with the motion then?
Motion to adopt the ordinance.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, we are now closed session. Item 15.1 is conference with real property negotiator pursuant to section 54956.8 of the Government Code for property addressed as 814-816 Grossmont Avenue. May we please have a motion to adjourn to the closed session? Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in closed session. We'll return soon to finish the meeting. Give it to our city attorney to announce the results of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council, or the Housing Authority, met in closed session to discuss an offer for the purchase of property owned by the Housing Authority by San Diego Habitat for Humanity. And on the motion of Board Member McClellan, seconded by Chairperson Wells, the Housing Authority unanimously approved entering into negotiations with Habitat for Humanity for the sale of the property located at 814 through 816 Grossmont Avenue. And the terms and conditions will be negotiated and then brought back to the City Council, or to the Housing Authority.
Okay, great. This brings us to adjournment then. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 28th day of February 2017, is adjourned until this evening. Tuesday, February 28th, 2017 at 7 o'clock p.m. See you all tonight.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, staff, do you have any agenda changes?
No, sir.
Council members, any agenda changes? At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Belinda, do we have any cards under public comment?
I have one card under public comment, and the speaker is Elizabeth Valles.
Ms. Valles, how are you?
I'm the one and only. So first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Valles. I am a pediatric nurse practitioner at Rady Children's Hospital and also certified as a family nurse practitioner. I would also like to welcome Councilmen Goebel and Colascio to the City Council here in El Cajon. So I would like to say I've lived in El Cajon for 13 years, and prior to that I grew up in Lemon Grove, so East County is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I have watched how the homeless population has grown over especially the last few years, and how the faces of those people have gotten much younger. As a pediatric nurse practitioner, that's something that's very disturbing to me. I have had the opportunity in the past to do some outreach with Urban Street Angels, which focuses on homeless youth and young adults, and have seen how they've had a lot of success in getting some of those kids off the streets into rehab programs, getting them jobs, reunited with their family, and so forth. I know that there has been some suggestions of how we should deal with the homeless in El Cajon. There was recently a town hall meeting, and then there has also been the East County Task Force that has been developed through the East County Chamber of Commerce. I did attend the town hall meeting to hear the ideas that were expressed there, and then I went to the East County Task Force meeting to hear more of the ideas that were coming out of there, and I have volunteered to be a part of that task force, especially focusing on the homeless youth. I'm very encouraged about what I heard from the task force, how they have a strategic plan, how they've actually developed a 10-point action plan that I believe is a 360-degree view of the homeless problem here in El Cajon and even in East County. Now, we know we may never solve the problem of homelessness, but we did have to have an approach where we were addressing the majority of the needs and not just focusing on a few. As a nurse, we know that we have to have collaboration with other partners, and the task force definitely does that. I was very impressed with the wide range of faith-based organizations, other governmental organizations, general citizens, and businesses that were also interested in solving this problem. So I just wanted to say that I am a citizen here, that I am not just up here to make any kind of complaints or anything, but to get involved. And I hope that more people in El Cajon do that, because I think that's how we will help to tackle a lot of the issues of homelessness here in El Cajon and in East County. Thank you very much for your time.
Let me see if there's any questions. Anybody have any questions, Ms. Fez? Mr. Goebel?
Actually, a comment. Thank you for your participation. Your skill is one that I haven't met somebody with yet in dealing with youth that are homeless. So I'm very pleased to see you be part of the discussion and the solution, and thank you for your participation.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not sure if my husband is, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. So that's it?
That's it.
We will now be conducting interviews for one seat on the Public Safety Facility Financing Oversight Committee and 2 seats on the Veterans Commission. When I call your name, please come forward to the podium. You will be given 2 minutes to speak, which may be followed with questions from the council. After all the appointments are made, we'll ask that the selected commissioners remain in the council chambers to take the oath of office. For the Public Safety Facility Financing Oversight Committee, the applicant is David DeBaca. The incumbent, Mr. DeBaca, would you please come forward and address the council? David? Okay. Well, staff, Mr. DeBaca is not here. So let's move on to the Veterans Commission then, okay? For the Veterans Commission, we have 2 vacant seats. As stated in the agenda report, staff has suggested the council waive the requirements of the council policy A27, proceed to interview and consider appointing 1 commissioner at this time, and establish an open-ended application period for the remaining commission seat. Council, should we proceed per staff's recommendation? All right. I'd like to ask the applicant to come forward. William McFarland, are you here? Hi, Mr. McFarland. Thank you for coming. Hello, Mr. McFarland. How are you?
All right, yourself?
Fine, thank you.
My name is William McFarland. I served in the Navy from 82 to 86. Currently, I'm a member of Post 303, which is the El Cajon American Legion. Have been there for 2 years. Prior to that, for 6 years, I was a member of the post up in Julian. I've lived in the city of El Cajon for 23 years. And after I got out of the Navy, I joined the Sheriff's Department, where I served for 25 years in East County primarily. So East County is my home, and I'm a proud veteran and would like to serve on the commission just to help the city recognize the veterans.
Are you retired from the Sheriff's
I just
Department now?
retired recently, yes.
Oh, so thanks for all your service in both areas. Let me see if there's some questions. Council has some questions? No?
I would just like to thank you for your service to our Navy, for keeping us free, because we wouldn't have freedom if it weren't for you and many others that are serving. So thank you.
Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate that. Go ahead and have a seat, and we'll discuss it, and you can stay after, right? Thanks. All right, Council, as there seems immensely qualified. Any discussion? Bob?
I'd like to make a motion that William McFarland be appointed to the Veterans Commission. And I don't know why we couldn't appoint David DeBaca to the Public Safety, but that'll be a different discussion, I guess. Do they have to be here?
No, they don't have to be here. That's your choice. But we're only dealing with this commission first, and then you can go back to that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, Ben, you were making the second. So the motion's been made and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Bob, you want to go ahead and make the other motion then?
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we appoint David DeBaca to the Public Safety Financing Oversight Committee.
Does he still want to do it?
Sure.
Second.
He has no choice now. If we vote, he's
Fair enough.
He has to come. Okay, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. Do you want to do the oath of office now?
Yes, please.
Mr. McFarland? Is there anybody that wants to take pictures? You have a family member here? All right. Well, you're going to take pictures. Okay, good.
I, William McFarland, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Thank you. That sounded familiar.
Thanks again for your willingness to serve, Mr. McFarland. But you're retired now. You can do whatever you want. All right. Item 101 is a public hearing on fiscal year 2017 through 2018 CDBG and home allocations and reallocation of available fiscal year 2016 through 17 CDBG funds. Staff, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, provides funding each year to eligible jurisdictions through the Federal Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnerships grant programs. These federal funds must be used for eligible projects and programs that benefit low and moderate income individuals and households in El Cajon. The city has been receiving these funds since the early 1990s. Now, in order to use these funds, every 5 years, the city must prepare and submit a 5-year consolidated plan. The plan describes the needs and goals and priorities for the use of CDBG and home funds over a 5-year period. Now, in order to receive these funds every 5 years, the city to implement the consolidated plan, the city must annually prepare and adopt a 1-year action plan. Now, the 1-year action plan specifies how financial resources will be allocated to address the goals and priorities in the 5-year consolidated plan. The projects and programs awarded funding tonight will form the core of the 1-year action plan. After tonight's meeting, staff will draft the 1-year action plan, which will be made available for a 30-day public review and then finalized for the City Council at the second public hearing that's scheduled for April 25th. Annual allocations of CDBG and home funds are based on formulas calculated by HUD and are usually released in the spring of each year. As of today, we have not received, or HUD has not announced, their allocation amounts for this fiscal. Now, staff has prepared the estimates based on previous allocations. The CDBG allocation is expected to be approximately $1.2 million, and the home fund allocation is expected to be about $435,000. For CDBG program, HUD regulations restrict the amount of funds to, one, no more than 20% for planning and administrative. So in order to implement this federal program, 20% cap is limited for the city of El Cajon. Public service has a 15% cap, and capital, physical improvements in the community that benefit our low-income areas have no cap. So the remaining balance is $780,000 based on a $1.2 million allocation. Additionally, $80,000 was identified in last year's allocation, specifically for the Housing Rehab Loan Program, or our Mobile Home Rehab Program. That's in excess of current year needs. So these funds are available for reallocation to public facilities or capital projects only. So this gives us a little bit over $1.2 million. This year, the city received 17 eligible applications for CDB funding, compared to 12 last year. So if you see the table that's up on the presented on the PowerPoint, you can see that based on the caps under HUD regulations, that CDBG administration is being proposed at $215,000, and $25,000 of that is being proposed for the Center for Social Advocacy in their fair housing services that they provide for the city of El Cajon. The city may also use these funds to undertake a variety of public facilities and public improvement projects that benefit low and moderate income residents. This includes all facilities improvements that are publicly owned or that are owned by a nonprofit but open to the public. Previous council direction has been to maximize and prioritize the use of CDBG funds for CDBG-eligible, city-owned public facility improvements serving the entire community, and to bring all public facilities into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The City Council has preferred to prioritize funding to continuing phased projects and to projects already underway before funding any new projects. So you see under the public facilities, public projects, Wells Park Phase 1 is a comprehensive security improvement project. And it's recommended, these are recommended for this significant city asset, which includes not just security improvements, but also new landscaping and recreational activities. These improvements are a first step to improving Wells Park. The ECPAC ADA project is recommended for $150,000. This is to ensure that the is fully accessible under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Stoney's Park is the park that's over next to Ronald Reagan, and another $135,000 is recommended for enhanced security improvements and to make this park accessible to all. The city's ADA ramps and sidewalks program is a recommendation for $30,000 to continue this ongoing effort that the city takes on to ensure that there are adequate ADA curb ramps and sidewalks throughout the city. Home of Guiding Hands, this project is meant to improve a facility in town, a home that serves developing disabled adults. And the Cajon Valley School District project, this is a significant partner for the city of El Cajon. This project here is to help expand Wi-Fi access for thousands of students on the valley floor, primarily those students that come from low to moderate income households. So for the public services, the cap from HUD is 15%. So 15% of that allocation, no more than $180,000, can be used for public services. The Crime-Free Multi-Housing Program is a well-regarded community policing program. It includes crime prevention, training, and education for property owners, managers, and residents of multifamily complexes in the city. The majority of properties are located in low-income census tracts. The project benefits the entire community with reduced calls for service and a more stable and empowered tenant base and a safer community overall. A total of 165 properties, about 7,800 units, are certified in this program. This program has received operational support every year since 1997. Staff's recommendation is that this activity receive the amount of just over $50,000. Crisis House. Crisis House, as the council knows, has been in El Cajon for a long time, many years. They are on city-owned property, so they do receive in-kind support from the city. That's valued about $100,000 a year. The staff is recommending that $7,000 is recommended to help offset the cost of an assessment and housing placement coordinator. This helps Crisis House's homeless services that they provide. The East County Transitional Living Center, this program here, they're proposing to serve 270 persons with emergency shelter beds up to 28 days, as well as providing food and case management. The program has received operational support from the city since 2005, and staff is recommending a $100,000 allocation to this program. Meals on Wheels, this program here provides meals to low-income homebound seniors within the city. The program proposes to serve 155 seniors. And the Interfaith Shelter Network, this is a program that provides emergency shelter for homeless individuals in East County, provided through the churches that are in East County on a rotational basis during the winter months. Staff recommends funding this activity in the amount of $7,000. This home program has caps as well. No more than 10% for planning and grant administration can be used from this allocation, and also 15% must be reserved for eligible affordable housing activities, specifically to be conducted by a community housing development organization, or what's called a CHODO. So, for example, Habitat for Humanity is a CHODO. And the balance of the remaining funds of the 435 is allocated or proposed to be allocated to the city's housing program, which you see here on the PowerPoint, which are our first-time home buyer, our single-family rehab program, and mobile home rehab and replacement program. Also like to point out to the City Council is that there's an opportunity for reallocation of funds from the last fiscal. One of last year's program recipients, the Angels Depot Emergency Food for Seniors, was awarded $20,000. Unfortunately, Angels Depot had to close its services and its doors. So this resulted in a withdrawal of their application and that funds are available. Staff was recently notified that East County Transitional Living Center's emergency shelter program has exhausted. And so due to their high demand for emergency housing services over the past year. So staff is recommending that that the council reallocate $20,000 from fiscal year 16-17 of the CDBG funds to the East County Transitional Living Center's emergency housing program. An amendment to the one-year action plan won't be required since the amount doesn't equate to 25% of the total allocation. So the staff is recommending that City Council take the following actions. 1, open the public hearing and accept public testimony. Approve the proposed CDBG and home fund allocations, and approve the reallocation of FY16 funds for the East County Transitional Living Center's emergency shelter program. Next steps will include the preparation of the one-year action plan as previously noted. There's a second City Council public hearing scheduled for April 25th. That's where the City Council will be asked to approve the final allocations and adopt the one-year action plan. Once that takes place, the staff will send the action plan to HUD for their approval. Once we receive their approval, and we anticipate that funds will be available just after July 1st. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tony. That was a great presentation. Council, you have any questions for staff? Bob?
I think they've done an excellent job of preparing a proposed plan for us. I really like it.
Excellent. All right. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
Yes, sir, we do. We have several.
Let's get started.
The first speaker is Cedric Nadondo Lay.
Cedric, welcome.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
How are you, Cedric?
Good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. All right. My name's Cedric. I am a job coach at Connect to Careers with the San Diego Workforce Partnership. I came out here from North Carolina to start school, college, aspirations of starting college. And then I actually went to the campus and found out that out-of-state tuition is intense and I wouldn't be able to afford it. The only plan that I could think of was getting a job and saving up for the next year. I looked around for some agencies and I found Connect to Careers. I applied online and made an account, and I got something called a job coach. And her name was Kelly. She walked me through the steps. She taught me how to make a resume. I didn't even know what a resume was. She taught me how to make a resume. She taught me how to dress business attire, how to get ready for an interview, how to speak correctly, professionally. She showed me a ton of jobs. It just so happened that there was a job coach opening actually within Connect to Careers. So I applied for it and set up an interview. I went in. I killed the interview, of course. And then about a week and a half later, Steven called me, and he offered me the job. So now every day I come in with the same aspirations as Kelly and the other job coaches as to getting the youth, the people my age, jobs so they can better themselves and, have a job, be employed. And I love my job, and I hope I can do even more for the city of El Cajon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
John Voigt.
Well, sir, welcome.
How you doing? Good to see you. Haven't been here before, so a little nervous. My name is John Volk, like a Volkswagen with no swagging.
Okay.
I'm here to support CSA and what they do. They're a fantastic association that helped me greatly when things happened that I had no control over and didn't know where to turn. I've been in El Cajon for over 30 years, director of security for a number of companies, sub-rosa specialist, and investigator. Got cancer and spinal stenosis. I'm still battling both. When you're a single male at my age, you don't get the support. There isn't places you can go to get help, even though I worked 2 full-time jobs my whole life practically. You get referrals for government agencies, and you call those numbers, and those people aren't there anymore. You don't know where to turn. No one gives you help. Finally, I was referred to CSA without going into the situation, the finites. They were able to help me get a focus. They also helped me to grasp the situation that I had no ability before. Never thought I'd be in that. Never was where I had no money or anywhere to turn. So, and I had insurance and everything, but that was about it. They came through with suggestions and ideas and ways that I could approach the situation. And without them, I think I would be another one of the street people. And I'm telling you right now, I've lived in El Cajon, like I said, for over 30 years. And I've seen the whole thing with El Cajon going like this. In fact, I had an office across the street where the J.C. Penney building was. And then it became Cal Stores, which I was director of security for. And I also worked at North Island Naval Base as top secret security clearance. And so I just think I have the background and ability to support CSA the way they should, and I'm very grateful that they exist. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Estela de los Rios.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, good evening once again, and congratulations, Vin Caluscio and Steve Goebel, to the City Council. And Honorable Mayor, good evening again. Well, Executive Director of CSA San Diego County, and very privileged and honored not only to live here in El Cajon for 40 years plus, but also to be assisting and affirmatively furthering fair housing. And what does that mean? Assisting people that are disabled, assisting families that are low to moderate, as you all know. Also assisting with a consolidated plan to contribute to the analysis of impediments. And a lot of times, these issues that come forward are, as the gentleman just spoke, they don't know where to turn to, whether it's a veteran, disabled person, a person with a lot of family that don't know what their rights are. We have 5 counselors now, and I just want to say thank you for all your support in the past years. And once again, here again to ask you and request your support once again. Of all the 6 cities that we have, we get overwhelming calls from the City of El Cajon. We get a lot of walk-ins, of course, because we're right across the street, very accessible. And now with the influx of newcomers, we're getting more and more fair housing calls. And we're now also have the privilege of having a HUD from the federal government FID program, which is Fair Housing and Enforcement. So we're able to do more testing and investigation on fair housing and discrimination. So just wanted to give you more of a analysis of what CSA San Diego County has been able to do, and we're very proud that we are your fair housing provider. And I just want to thank you and again request your support. Any questions? Anyone?
No, but thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the good work your organization does.
Jack Miklos.
Mr. Miklos.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members.
My name is Jack Miklas. I'm the Assistant Executive Director at Crisis House. Before I begin, I first want to express our gratitude for Mayor Wells, the council, city manager, city attorney for your support over the years for Crisis House. Without your support, it'd be very difficult to do what we do. I have some summaries here that gives you a little bit of an idea of Crisis House's achievements and their actions taken in calendar year 2016. However, tonight I'm here to speak to you in regards to CDBG. Our request was for funding for an assessment coordinator. HUD, under the Hearth Act, required communities to initiate and implement a coordinated assessment and entry system for the homeless to better and effectively match individuals and families with housing opportunities. As a result, Crisis House has been elected and nominated to be the lead agency for East County to administer the assessment tool, which is the VI-SPDAT, and to do the coordinated entry for the region's homeless individuals. While regionally they secured funding to support the infrastructure for the coordinated entry system, they failed to set aside funding to support the actual boots on the ground for the individuals at the lead agencies to conduct the assessments and collect the data and do the data entry critical to the coordinated entry system. We respect staff's recommendations on funding. We understand you can't get water from a rock. You can't cut the pie up more than you can cut it up. So I know it's very difficult decisions. But this position is new. It does not exist. It's not attached to any existing funding. And it's critical to the continuation and the implementation of the coordinated assessment for the Eastern region and in El Cajon specifically. So we appreciate any consideration that you have for this project.
This is any questions for you. Steve?
Can you describe some of the job duties of this position you're seeking to fund?
The first and foremost is the first step in the coordinated entry system is an assessment tool. The tool is called the VI-SPDAT. It was developed and accepted by HUD as the appropriate tool for the assessment. The assessment itself, without supplemental questions, takes approximately 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the state of mind of the individual that we're assessing. So in some cases, that assessment could take upwards of 55 minutes if the individual happens to be, let's say, under the influence, or is developmentally challenged, mentally ill. There could be a longer term for that assessment. Once the assessment is administered, it develops with a score. The score prioritizes that individual on various categories and rates the individual with a priority for their housing. So special needs clients like SMI clients may be appropriate for permanent supportive housing. As a region, El Cajon has approximately, I believe, 200 vouchers that are specifically designated for those seriously mentally ill individuals. Once that information has been collected, that assessment coordinator then transfers all that information into a regional VI-SPDAT, which is part of the regional continuum of care, HMIS system, the Homeless Management Information System with the Regional Task Force on the Homeless. Ultimately, the plan is to open up that data universally across the entire county so that agencies in North County would be able to see the assessment and the services provided to somebody in El Cajon, per se. Housing availability then matches that person, becomes attached to a housing navigator, who then prepares that individual to become rent-ready, so to speak. We've heard employment-ready. This is rent-ready. They'll address issues of past evictions, poor credit histories, so that when they present themselves to a potential landlord, that they make the best presentation. That housing navigator also has developed some relationships with landlords. A housing opportunity may present itself for an individual living in East County in Oceanside, and that client then has the opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity or to deny it. It always lies back with the client's first approach, has the client's choice. The data is valuable. Once that system's opened up, individuals will be able to access services county-wide. The individual is the first step in that coordinated entry system, and one that unfortunately is not easily funded because no one's come out with an RFP at the federal level to fund this one position, but they've created the system, and we have to make it work. So, did that hopefully answer your question?
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
William Zucconi?
Good evening, Mayor Wells, Mayor Pro Tem McClellan, City Council members, and staff. My name is Bill Zucconi, and I'm the Rotational Shelter Coordinator for Interfaith Shelter Network. The Interfaith Shelter Network is a collaborative effort of area congregations, social service agencies, and cities throughout the county, pooling resources to provide emergency shelter to homeless families and individuals, and we've been doing this for more than 30 years. Utilizing congregational volunteers and facilities, people in need receive shelter, meals, and supportive case management programs to work to improve their situation. Over the years, half of those served by the program have left for more permanent housing, and more than half of the adults left with a job or income and benefits to which they're entitled. We run a case-managed shelter, which means that each person admitted to our program has an assigned case manager who has placed them on a personalized plan with both interim and permanent goals that they must achieve. The case management agency we contract with in the East County branch is Crisis House, which is located right here in El Cajon. Last year, the East County branch, which El Cajon is a part of, through the efforts of nearly 24 area churches, other houses of worship, and volunteer groups, 35 people were provided a total of more than 1,527 bed nights. The funding requested that we're requesting will go for case management services, client transportation, and portions of the salaries and benefits for part of the rotational shelter program staff. The funding also leverages the efforts of over 700 volunteers and have provided over 4,580 meals. I have copies of our annual summary of services available for your review should you want more information. I thank the City Council for considering our program for funding and would like to encourage your support. You're invited to come and visit the shelters during the season and see the good work, your support, and the helping hands that your constituents are bringing to life. Thank you very much.
Let me see if there's any questions for you, sir. Any questions? Thank you for coming.
Oh, okay. And
you can pass that to the clerk, and they will send it to us.
Edward Hershey?
Mr. Hershey, welcome.
Thank you. Evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, staff. My name is Edward Hershey. I'm the Vice President of Home of Guiding Hands here in El Cajon. We have a long history in East County of providing services. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, serving individuals with intellectual and disabilities. We have two proposals in front of you this evening, and I'd like to thank you for your consideration of those. I'm available for any questions.
Let me see here. So the facility improvements, you asked for $38,000. No, I'm sorry. You asked for $23,000.
Correct.
What was that for?
Well, one of our residential homes for improvements in that home. Some ADA improvements in the restrooms, roof replacement, and an outdoor deck.
Great.
It is.
I think that the $20,000 the staff suggested can get you there?
Yes.
Okay. That's helpful. Thanks for being flexible.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, you guys do great work. I
Thank you.
appreciate all you do.
Trudy Del Priori.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and staff. I want to thank you, first of all, for all your support that you've given us throughout the years. It's been really great. We've been serving a lot of El Cajon Incorporated clients.
I'm sorry, what organization are you with?
I'm sorry, I'm with Meals on Wheels.
Okay. Thanks.
We serve up to 2 meals per day to clients here in El Cajon, and we also are a daily safety check, and we also do in-home client social visits. We also bring pet food to the clients that actually have pets as well. We are currently serving 89 of your residents, and we hope to get, by the end of the fiscal year, 155. We have been growing in leaps and bounds, and we're very, very happy to be serving. 67% of our clients are females. 44% live alone. So we are the only people that they see throughout the day or throughout the week. 31% are over 85 years of age. So it's really, what we do is really, really important. We are about 50% of our goal, to reaching our goal, and we thank you for your support.
I see there's some questions for you. Anybody have questions?
Just one. You bring the lunches, right?
Lunches and dinners.
Lunches and dinners. And how many days a week?
6 days a week.
Okay.
And if they want a meal for Sunday, Sunday's meal gets delivered on Saturday.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
I just want to tell you, the last 2 years I've gone out with one of your drivers, and I was really just impressed, mostly because it was clear to me that the people that were getting the food were happy to see the food, but they were more happy to see the driver.
Yeah.
And the driver would come in and sit down and talk for a while and interact with these folks, and they were so hungry for that interaction, and it was such a kind thing. It really touched my heart, and so thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, and our campaign this year is more than a meal, so we're delivering, more than a meal, like you say, Mr. Mayor. We're delivering, a smile and a social visit and a nutritious meal.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, and we'll be going through the process very soon. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
I have no more cards for this item.
Wow, okay. So, council, let's see, you know what, we have to close the public hearing, so can I have a motion to close the public hearing? Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, this is one of the most interesting and frustrating nights of the year for City Council. This is where we start deciding how we're going to break everything up. I think Bob made a good point. The staff has done a great job this year of making recommendations, but we're open to suggestions if somebody has other ideas.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question. I guess, is this where I can ask questions about some of these items?
You can talk about anything you want, Steve.
Okay. For the gentleman from Crisis House, have you approached the county for funding?
Please come up, yes.
No, sir, there's at this point.
Mayor, before
I'm
it gets
sorry,
started-
we have to follow the rules.
You
I need to
probably
open
should
the
open the
public hearing.
again, yeah, for ask
So
questions.
the public hearing is now officially open. Please come up, sir.
No, sir, not quite sure who you would go to. The regional continuum of care in our proposal says CAP. That it's moving so quickly. That's actually changed. It's now the coordinated reentry system, or entry system. So recently, the regional continuum of care merged with the regional task force on the homeless. The regional task force on the homeless is the one that is now controlling funding. From the county standpoint, they have not issued any solicitations to fund such a position. It could be taken to various supervisors, so we could go to Supervisor Jacobs for that. But no, we haven't asked for county funding at that point yet. This we were notified and selected in late June, July of 2016. So.
Are you familiar with the county's Project One for All, where they have navigators to?
Yes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Project One for All, we actually have someone from county behavioral health that's in our offices 1 day a week working for individuals that fall into that category for SMI. So that is one segment of our homeless population out here. We heard earlier this evening there's a younger population out here. There is a population that is now seems to be a little bit more violent than in the past. And there's an older population as well that consists of in the homeless sector too. So funny that the people that are out here that we see on a regular basis, they're here by choice. Many of them grew up in East County, in Lakeside, Santee, El Cajon, Spring Valley, Lemon Grove. They've chosen to be here for a number of reasons. Some of them it's because they can hide in the weeds and don't have to carry their belongings. There's a little bit more dignity to be in the bushes than on the streets of 16th Street downtown. So they've made that conscious choice to be in East County, and it's fallen upon us to be able to try to serve them the best we can.
Okay, thank you. No further questions. Bob?
Just to enlighten the other council members, I think that the City Council, when I was on the council a number of years ago, bought the building that you're in and have leased it to you for, I believe, $1 a year, which was like a $400,000 building. Is that correct?
That's correct. In housing shortages and rent increases, that is a fantastic price, and we're very appreciative for that.
Yeah, so we do support you very heavily in that area, and wish we could do more, but I think we're above and beyond. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Gary, do you have a question?
Did we have someone from Mama's Kitchen here?
I guess not.
I guess not. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else want to call anybody else from the audience? I'd like to make a motion then to close public hearing.
Second.
Moving second, please vote. And since this is, go ahead and finish that.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Since it doesn't look as controversial as I might think, let's go through it page by page, if that's fine. On this first page, I'm comfortable with what the staff has recommended for the allocation between city housing and CSA. Does anybody have any objections, or somebody like to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
We just check with staff. Can we do it page by page like this?
Yeah, you're going to do a full approval at the end. If you want to take straw votes at this point, you don't have to take a motion. You can just simply
a full approval at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just check this off then. And then on the second page, since Home of Guiding Hands was comfortable with working with the 20,000, everybody else seems to be getting what they had asked for. Nobody came from Cajon Valley School District. So I'm assuming they're okay with the 25,000. And does anybody want to make any suggestions or changes on this?
I think it's very generous.
Any other thoughts? So we'll check off this page then, too.
Okay.
How's your time to speak now, or forever hold your peace?
So we're checking off pages 2 of 3 and 3 of 3?
Number 1, attachment 2, and number 2, attachment 2. So the first one was with city housing and CSA, and the second one was the one that had public works, Home and Guiding Hands, Cajon Valley School District.
Yes, my question about the county was, I would be glad to speak to Supervisor Jacob to see if we can recover some of that funding that we're not able to perhaps provide.
I think I'm sure they would appreciate that greatly.
This is a regional issue beyond just an El Cajon issue. Supervisor Jacob and I have a very good relationship, and I would be glad to advocate on your behalf for that additional funding.
Excellent. So then let's move on to page number 3. And that's the one that has Crisis House and ECTLC staff. Is this where I should be discussing the $20,000 from the previous year?
Mr. Mayor and Council, no, that is a separate allocation.
Separate motion?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So I'm comfortable with all these allocations. Anybody wants to make a different motion?
Oh, I like it.
Any other thoughts?
What happens if we collect more money, or we are granted, I should say, more money than estimated?
Mr. Mayor and City Council, the estimation has been on pretty close each year, slight increase or increase, so we equally distribute based on the percentages in accordance with all the caps. However, the City Council can, if there's a significant amount, the City Council can designate a particular program that if a certain amount of money does come in, could be awarded to that program.
So during mid-year, could we say, it sounds like we know what the number is at the beginning of the year.
Normally, we would like you to make that decision now, so if there's one of these programs that you would like all of the excess devoted to, you could make that motion now. Otherwise, the protocol the direction the council's given us otherwise is to spread the excess, or if there's a decrease, but normally it's an excess, because we estimate conservatively, spread it evenly on a percentage basis. So the council can do whichever you want. But to avoid having to come back and delay our approvals, we would ask that direction now.
I would have a suggestion that if there are excess funds, the first $20,000 go to Crisis House. I think their position is an East County region, so I don't want to bear the entire cost for El Cajon, but I think this is an important position in the long-term solution of helping people who are homeless. So if there are excess funds, I would request the first $20,000 towards Crisis House.
Well, do you have any objection, Bob?
You know, we've always kind of spread it out evenly, and I think that, we've given them a building. I think we've gone above and beyond as far as the city's concerned, and I think I'd like to see the rest of it spread evenly among the other participants.
He's talking about if there were any excess funds,
Yeah.
which the staff says is unlikely.
And I'm saying spread it evenly. That's what I would like we've done in the past.
Staff's asking us to choose at least
one or the other.
One or the other. You could have it spread evenly between a couple of different programs if that's what you choose.
Well, I think there's a number of good organizations that we're supporting, and if we just split it up percentage-wise, I think that'd be great. Crisis House would get some, everybody gets some.
Steve, would you be willing to split that up between Meals on Wheels and Crisis House?
10,000 for Crisis House, 10,000 for Meals on Wheels.
What do you think, Bob?
Well, there's a lot of other organizations that need our money equally as well as they do, and, I think I like the idea of what we've done in the past.
I'm not sure.
We'd be setting a new precedent, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, however you want to do it's fine. I think it's a moot point. I don't, staff's telling me there's probably not going to be any extra money, so.
Well, they said that there's always extra money.
Ben?
I hear what both of them are saying, and why don't we just, it's probably a moot point, like you said, but just to, I guess, play to the personality differences and those, just see if we want to go with Goebbels, and then I understand what Bob's saying, too.
Staff, can you give us any direction on this before we vote? Because let me tell you what I'm seeing.
Let me outline something. These public services is capped at 15% of the whole. So even if we're off, Tony, am I right? We were conservative by 40,000 total last year. So 15% of that was 6,000. So and historically, I'd say it's almost impossible we're going to be off by more than that. So realistically, if we're going to be off, the maximum is going to be under 10,000 going to the public services.
So the question was, if there were a little bit of money left, would you be comfortable giving it to Crisis House?
I think he wants to spread it.
So Bob's question is, can we spread it evenly amongst all the requesters?
Yes, and traditionally you have spread it on a percentage basis. So if East County Traditional Living Center was saying getting 50% of all the public services, they'd get 50% of any overage. That's what you've done in the past, but you can, as Councilmember Goebel say, you can designate any overage for only one or two or anything you want.
I'm comfortable with either. Gary, do you have any thoughts?
I'm comfortable with either one.
I got to make a decision, guys.
I think I'm with Bob.
Okay, so I'm comfortable with going along with that as well.
Okay. Well,
So
I'll
everybody
go along
gets
with
something, if there's anything.
Half a loaf is better than that.
Okay. Were there any other though changes to we're on page 3 now, with city police services going down to Crisis House and Meals on Wheels. Any other changes significantly that you wanted to make other than what the staff has recommended? All right. I think that's it. So then I make a motion that we allocate the funds based upon the same figures that the staff has given us.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
And then the 20,000.
And then we have to deal with the other 20,000 that was left over from the other fiscal year that was returned. Staff has recommended that we give it to ECTLC. Any thoughts on this?
My motion.
I agree. They really give us a big bang for the buck.
I think so too. Any other thoughts? All right. So the motion and a second on the table. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, staff, have we handled everything that needs to be handled? All right, good. Nicely done, council. Thank you.
Okay. Get out of here at 8 o'clock.
All right, I would like to remind everyone that final adoption of the fiscal year 2017-18 allocations will be presented at the second public hearing scheduled for 3 o'clock p.m. City Council meeting on April 25th, 2017. This brings us to the adjournment, the regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 28th day of February 2017, is adjourned until Tuesday, March 14th, 2017 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you all for coming.
You could be an auctioneer.
Yeah, I'm getting fast on that paragraph.